Welcome to the Wilderness Podcast. We're on episode 51, and here we are, fresh off the RuneFest hype. I am your host, Dills, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Deegan.
Hey, how's it going?
The going's pretty good. How was your week? Anything exciting to talk about?
Not really. A lot of schoolwork. Had, not that much time to play games. Last night, actually, I played, I was on Discord with my buddies, and one of them suggested, that we should try this game called Speedrunners.
Never heard of it.
It's like a couch co-op game, kind of. You can just sit there with your friends on your couch or whatever and play, but we're obviously doing it online. You, pretty much, it's like a up to 4 person game, and you guys, race around a map. It's kind of like a obstacle map, and you pick up items, and you're trying to get ahead of people, and if you get a certain distance ahead of someone, they, die, and the first one to win 3 times on that map wins. You kind of go in, a big loop over and over again.
Alright. Is it like that, do you remember that Doritos Crash Course game for Xbox?
Oh yeah, kind of like that, but
Dude, that game was the shit. I fucking love that game.
That game was pretty fun. Except you're not, trying to get the fastest time, because, you could literally, we've had, rounds that go, 5-10 minutes, because we're just constantly next to each other. It's you're trying to get distance, on the screen, right? So, everyone sees the same screen. If I'm, all the way to the right, if I'm ahead of everyone and you're all the way at the back, and I, you hit an obstacle or something and you fall back to the end, and then you're out, and it's just me and, another person, whoever's left.
Okay, I think I'm following.
The longer it goes, the smaller the screen gets.
Okay.
So you have to stay close. It's kind of hard to explain. It's super fun. We were all kind of I guess we'll try for an hour and refund it. And we ended up playing all night. Such a good game. Cause it's
what's that game going for, money-wise?
I think $20.
Okay.
A little bit under, 17 Canadian or something like that.
Where is it $20 then? That's the question.
What do you mean?
Well, $17 Canadian. That's like $9 American.
Oh yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. If you're interested, I would just look up a video. It's probably way better to see, but it's honestly so fun because there's items that you can kind of use to fuck people over. There's grappling hooks and little tricks you can do to get ahead of people, and you're think of it as you're speed running a map, right? So it's called Speedrunners. So you're trying to get to the map as fast as possible while screwing the other person over. Yeah, I don't know. It's a super fun game, but I played that last night, and that's kind of it. I played a little bit of Dota as well, but not that much. Just doing a lot of school stuff, and I'm still waiting for my buddy. He's super close to finishing raids or getting his raid requirements. So
almost raid ready.
Yeah, so maybe next weekend, maybe, but. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of got swamped.
Fuck, by the time you guys start doing raids, I'm going to be raid ready.
Yeah, for real.
Shit.
Get a little gang going. But, yeah, that's about it for me. What about you?
Me, it was fairly eventful for me, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let me see. So I got I got Dagonoth Kings as a Slayer task.
Nice.
A couple days ago. Midweek, I should say. And yeah, I had never killed Dagonoth Kings before, but you know what? I was like, fuck it. I'm super down for this. This could be a lot of fun. Yeah, so getting prepped for that, I decided to buy a Ring of Suffering.
Nice.
Sort of. I had to sell everything in my bank just to be able to afford it. When I say sell everything, I'm a huge hoarder, so I always got a shit ton of prayer potions and a shit ton of seeds and a shit ton of ores just from getting them from Slayer, and a shit ton of runes. So I decided to sell a bunch of stuff that I had an excess amount of and wasn't going to be needing anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So I was able to just pull just enough to be able to buy it. And yeah, I got that. Realized I should probably get it imbued before I do anything else. Went to NMZ. And it cost 750,000 NMZ points to get. So I spent an evening basically doing that. Because I'm super inefficient. The amount of times I was I would just forget to drink absorb potions and I would just die. Man, I spent so much money. It's kind of pathetic. But anyways, yeah, got that imbued. And then I decided to try out Dagonoth Kings. So, in case you don't know what the Ring of Suffering is, back when Monkey Madness 2 came out, they released the oh shit, what's it called? Zenite? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
They released the Zenite gem, which you could use with the Fury and all the other Onyx jewelry, and you could it became the new best in slot jewelry, basically.
Yeah, you like infuse the Zenite shard with an Onyx, and then you'd get like the new gem that you can make.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And, well, I shouldn't say it's best in slot, but the Ring of Suffering became like a new defensive ring you could use. Which was, it's pretty decent, but also on top of that, you were able to infuse your Ring of Recoils into it. So you could have like 100 Ring of Recoils worth in your Ring of Suffering, which makes it great for things like Zulrah and stuff like that. So that was pretty nice. I decided to get that up and decided to tackle Dagonoth Kings. Like I said, I'd never actually done Dagonoth Kings before, which is kind of sad, but whatever. It is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all I did really was look on like a quick equipment guide on what to bring. Basically, like the things you want to... And even that, I didn't even do that properly, but yeah, it was kind of... I didn't want to watch a video on how people killed it, like how to be super efficient. I kind of wanted to just see what could I bring to get in there and then figure out the mechanics there myself.
Yeah.
So, I'm not really going in there blind, but maybe going in there with like squinted vision.
Yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. And I fucking had a great time, actually. It took me like 4 actual trips before I started getting more than 2 kills. But yeah, it was actually a good time.
Nice.
But yeah, basically what I was rocking was full Guthans, Slayer mask, obviously, Carol's top, blowpipe, and then Trident of the Swamps. When you get in there, there's just like you're getting tri-Bridded, basically, against 3 different monsters. Is that a good way of saying it?
Yeah, like they're all kind of... Well, 2 of them will hit you, but sometimes your Rex will aggro to you as well.
Yeah, so that's what kept happening to me, because I wasn't really watching videos on how to prevent you from aggroing all 3 of them. So I would just go into an area and just pray to God that one of them would just kind of stay away from me. Mm-hmm. But every time I had basically all 3 of them attacking you. But yeah, there's a Ranger, a Mage, and a Melee. And after the first 2 times of like going to making the trip there and just getting killed instantly, I decided to figure out how to get this melee guy like kind of stuck behind something, because I know that's what everyone does. Yeah. And a lot of people just solo that dude by getting him stuck, and then you can just kind of kill him on repeat, I think. Mm-hmm. Basically, as soon as you climb into their lair, there's a little area you can get the guy stuck behind. So you do that instantly, and then yeah, basically you'd have to tank the Ranger if the Mage is also attacking you, because you'd have to put on Prey Mage, because the Mage dude hits so fucking hard. He hits like a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily I had it where it was like, I can't remember if I was able to get both of 2 guys down. Like 2 guys were on respawn while I was killing one guy, and then basically another guy would spawn and then I'd kill him. You know what I mean? Killing one at a time. But from what I was remembering was I was always having to tank 2 guys at once for the most part. Just having to figure out just what to do, and like having those panic moments of, oh fuck, I'm getting like, I'm going to get KO'd if I keep this up. Like shit, I got to figure out how not to die right away. I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I was really enjoying it. Basically, after I killed my 35 kills, I got a Sears ring, which really isn't much. It's what, 300k worth?
I think so, yeah. It's not bad though.
No, but it was weird because I also get my Abbey Demons task quite a bit, and I've gotten 3 whips from them, and when a whip drops, I usually just go, oh, cool, and I pick it up. Like, I don't get really that excited. I get a little excited for the money, but it's not like, oh my god, yes, and I get like, fucking running around, like, dancing. But when I got this Sears ring, I got so stoked for that. It just felt so satisfying to get.
Yeah, those big boss drops, dude.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of ironic because I don't give a shit about getting the whip drops.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I care, but I don't get like, it's just very like, oh, that's nice, cool. But so yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say with when I'm on like a Dagonoth task or the boss task, and I like go to the kings, like usually either I'll drop in and tri-brid them, like I'll go and kill them all, and then I'll just go and safe spot Rex. But Yeah, I find like when you're doing that boss and you're killing all of them, you really need to kill them at like a good pace so you're only fighting one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But what some people do is they bring ice and blood barrage for Rex. And they'll freeze him in place and they'll also heal off of him if they don't have an SGS or any like good healing methods.
Right.
And then you Guthin or SGS like the minions on the sides of the room.
Yeah, that almost makes too much sense because, yeah, there were some times where I was just praying. There's just sometimes I would just go Guthins and just be like, oh god, I hope I can heal off the Ranger.
Yeah.
And like, that in itself is super inefficient. Like, I was just getting my ass handed to me a bunch of times, but I can understand if you want to safe spot one of the guys to kind of make it more efficient so you can kill, like, I don't know, 50 in one trip, which I'm sure it'll come to that after you've killed them 100 times each, but I was having a lot of fun just figuring out how to take on all three of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And finding out where should I be in the lair so that when the other one spawns, it's not going to instantly aggro on me.
Yeah. Now, how many times did you get crashed?
I was doing the Slayer rooms, so I didn't get crashed at all, actually.
Really?
Not once.
Man, every time I have a Dagnauth task or the Kings, I get crashed at least once. Like, there's times where, like, I have, like, just a normal Dagnauth task, and I'll go to the Kings, and, like, I'll get crashed, like, 5 times. And then I just say, fuck it, and I just leave, and I just go and cannon Dagnauths. That was actually my last attempt at doing, just, like, farming Rex, just because, you know, Berserker Ring, and it's kind of AFK.
Yeah, I wasn't getting crashed at all. Although, when I was going there was one dude sitting right outside the lair, and as soon as I showed up, he's like, dude, please world hop, my Iron Man's in there, please don't crash me. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to, because I don't want to have to, I'm going to go in there and die, so like, I want to be by myself, I don't want anyone seeing this happen.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see how other people are getting crashed a bunch, but maybe I was just lucky. But yeah, a few times I tried bringing my cannon in there to seeing if that would help or anything like that, and no, that made things so much worse. Oh, that made the whole fight just impossible to do.
Yeah, they actually recommend to bring a cannon.
Well, for me, I'm a huge noob, right? So going in there with my cannon, I'm just making it like a lot harder for myself.
Yeah, that's true.
One day I'll be there.
Yeah, once you're comfortable enough with the boss.
Yeah. So yeah, that what else happened? Decided to buy my rune pouch because, like, why not? I realized I should probably have it by now.
Mm-hmm.
So dropped 2.6 mil on that. Because with Slayer, man, I'm starting to make bank off Slayer. It's really nice.
Yeah. You get to the point now where, like, the money just flows in.
Yeah. And yeah, another little fun thing I got was I got the Cave Kraken task.
Nice. How's that?
A lot easier. So much easier. Like, again, I just kind of wanted to see what equipment to bring and went into the fight kind of not knowing what to expect. And fuck, I'm pretty sure going in there, I cleared my task in one trip.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Like, doing it, I was just like, this is the easiest boss in the game.
Where were you killing the boss with, like, the little minion fucks?
I was killing the boss. Like, one, we have to hit each of the 4 whirlpools to spawn his tentacles, then the big dude spawns. Like, honestly, I think that's the easiest boss in the game.
100%. Yeah, it's ridiculously easy boss.
I was surprised. I was expecting so much more just because you need 87 Slayer, and I know it's kind of one of the more, I wouldn't say it's one of the more newer bosses, but it's a boss that's like came out with old school RuneScape. This wasn't back in 2007. And yeah, I was shocked that even the giant mole I would consider harder than that boss.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, in my opinion, I would say that the giant mole is harder than the Cave Kraken, because, like...
Well, you can't really die if you don't let your prayer drop at the mole.
Yeah, but then again, I felt almost the same way with the Cave Kraken. Like, the only way you could die is if you literally weren't paying attention, but I never... Like, I would start the fight, and I would not have to worry about that guy killing me. He'd do, like, maybe 15 damage tops.
I mean, you'll get a certain, like, a couple times he'll, like, get a couple 30s on you, but, like...
He can hit a 30.
Rare. Yeah.
See, I must have just been lucky because I never got hit for a 30. Well, I was reading on the Oldschool RuneScape wiki, and it says keep your health above 32 at all times.
Yeah.
So I was expecting him to be able to combo you out, but, it just never even came close.
Apparently his max is only 13, but I swear I've been, like, sitting at 40, and I go, oh, fuck, I'm almost dead. But I don't know.
Maybe because you're killing, like, 100 of them in one trip, and you're just, like, doing it so AFK.
Yeah.
You're just not noticing your health go down.
Usually I turn my brain off when I'm killing him, because he's just... You get, like, 70 kills a trip, or, like, 50 to 70, and you're just, like, it's kind of boring.
I was expecting to be more on my toes, kind of similar to the Dagannoth Kings, where, like, I was expecting to die the first trip.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to figure out the fight, but no, it's super simple. Like, you go in there wearing Aram's row bottoms, Carol's top, Slayer helmet, Trident of the Swamps, and you bring, like, a ranged weapon, and you just poke each of the 4 whirlpools, spawn his tentacles, attack the big whirlpool in the middle, and he spawns, and sit back and watch him die, basically. Yeah, that was very easy, and yeah, I'm getting close to 90 attack, which is nice. And I guess that's basically all I can think of that was kind of worth mentioning this week. Very Slayer heavy. I did some rune crafting just because why not? Yeah, so that was about it for me.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think we should sit on it much more because, man, we got quite a hectic episode to go over. RuneFest happened this weekend. We got a lot dropped on us. We got, tons of announcements. We got, the Golden Gnome Awards were handed out. We saw the Dead Man Mode tournament happen. And, the controversial shit that always happens afterwards.
Yeah, that huge aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath clusterfuck. And yeah, I think we should, let's get right into things.
Yeah, so, if you attended RuneFest, you were able to get an ornate shield. That's what they called this ornate shield. It had no stats, and it was like a Fashionscape item.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could also get it if you tuned into the stream, and you'd get like a code. You could redeem it to Diango. They said they're sure the item code will find its way into public domain in no time. So I don't know if they'll just let everyone get it at some point. But right now there is like a unique shield if you went to RuneFest or watched the stream and got lucky.
Or if somebody just told you the code. And I'll tell you right now, the code was RuneFest 17.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Are you serious?
Yeah, someone in the clan chat told us and everyone went out and got one. I didn't get one, but...
Oh, yeah, so cool. That's good to know. I had no idea. Yeah, RuneFest 17. Mm-hmm. One word?
Maybe? I can't remember, to be honest. I think so.
Alright. Type in that code. You get a cool little shield. It's got like a little golden dragon-esque symbol. Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of cool.
Basically the little logo they have for RuneFest every year.
Yeah. It's a nice looking little shield. But yeah, so RuneFest 17 is the code. Go to Diango and Draenor Village. And, yeah. So other than that, they're gonna be polling the Halloween skins. So they have Zombie Blue, which is, the classic zombie skin. They have the Fast Maddie's green. So it's like a lime green, a bright green color.
Right. If you've been to Fast Maddie's, you're probably picturing that color.
Yeah. And then they have Putrid Purple, which is just a deep purple.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably vote for the Zombie Blue, but that's like my favorite one out of all of them. I'm not a big fan of the purple one. That's straight
nostalgia. That's what that one is.
Yeah.
And with that brings us into basically the main section of news. The big thing that was going on Saturday was RuneFest with, we got a shit ton of stuff dropped onto us. So we'll start off with the Golden Gnome Award winners. So last week we told you guys who the nominees for each of the different categories were. And yeah, so the winner for the video of the year was Sir Pugger with his Pretending to be a Girl in RuneScape. The best new video maker was C Engineer. The best RuneScape video maker was Fat Nooblet. Best old school RuneScape video maker is Guns Chili. And now for streaming, the best new streamer was Manked. Best RuneScape streamer, RuneScape Omid. The best old school streamer, Foe. Best artistic creation is Maximus Gugu with their pop-up book. The best artist was Angelscape. Most creative cosplay was Plushy Tum, sorry. Best cosplay was Dude. It's a fucking sick name, dude. Yeah, so our, and then for the community awards was the community champion was Mr. Mammal, which was because of all the charity streams he's been doing and all the money he was able to donate. And then last but not least, Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Wooks for... I'm not going to sit here and list off all the shits he's achieved over his RuneScape career, but there's a lot.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit. Very fitting.
Yeah, and most people will recognize his name as being the first person to have completed the Inferno Cave. Getting the Inferno Cape.
That was his most recent achievement, but he's got like a lot of crazy achievements he's done.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, they awarded him with the Inferno Cape in real life, man.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fucking sick.
Puts that thing on, instantly shredded.
Oh, yeah.
Massive muscle. That strength bonus.
I'm pretty sure he went outside the RuneFest and just beat the shit out of some people with it. It's crazy. No, actually.
Got into some high-risk PvP, dude.
Mm-hmm. And, so yeah, that was all the Golden Gnome Awards. Pretty cool. You know, congrats to everyone who won out there. And yeah, let's just start. We'll get right into the announcements. So, you know, the Jagex mods announced, what they have in store for us this year for old school RuneScape. And, you know, why should we tell you about it when we have, the clips right here? We can have the Jagex mods telling you about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to play the sound clips for you there. And in case you've already heard them and you don't want to hear them again, we'll tell you exactly how far you can skip ahead to miss out on what they said. So yeah, if you've already heard all the RuneFest announcements, skip ahead 12 minutes because this is the section covering the PVM stuff that we're going to have in store for us this year. So that's going to be that's a 12-minute long segment. So skip ahead if you've already heard it or you don't want to hear it. But if you haven't heard it, here it is for you guys.
So, before we get things kicked off with a big reveal, we're going to bring you back to January 2017 when we released the Chambers of Xeric, our first ever raiding dungeon. And still to this day, this is one of the most popular pieces of PVM content I think we've ever done in RuneScape. And to come down to some numbers, over 10,000 of Chambers of Xeric are completed every single day. And that number's not really dropped since launch. And it's just mind-blowing the commitment that the different PVM clans and communities have just stuck at it, and it's something they want to see more of. But before we carry on, I just want to mention that we still know there's room for expansion for Chambers of Xeric. I'd love to add some more rooms there, some more puzzles and challenges.
So here we can see the old school RuneScape map, and you might notice there's a few black areas that could be filled. Well, we've decided to fill one. As we slowly but surely do approach Mayor Ditch, we will find the land of the vampires. Vampires are pretty badass, right? They can be intimidating. They can be extremely strong, and they will be, as we introduce them, in the Theater of Blood as our second ever raids.
Come on! So, you might have heard the word Maya Ditch and been a little scared about your last escapade through that place. But what you'll see on this map here is there's a lovely little dock conveniently located near the Theatre of Blood that you'll be able to take that boat from Burderot further around to the east coast, east of Maya Ditch, and into the castle that's been sat there unopened all this time. Now, the Theatre of Blood is where all these vampires go for entertainment. They push these human slaves through the gauntlet of a series of challenges, and eventually they suffer and fail. No one's actually made it through yet, probably because it doesn't exist yet, but We're getting there.
That dock wasn't always there, was it?
The dock? No, the dock's new.
Oh, wow.
There's a map that Mod West has put together, and I think it's looking awesome. It'll give you a little preview of what it might look like.
Essentially, we knew we wanted to do raids too. We had some really incredible ideas, but we weren't really sure where to put it. We looked around the map and we saw Mayor Ditch, which looks incredible. It really does. But there's not too much there. So we decided, you know what, this is the perfect place.
Yeah.
We have these vampires who have been sitting in this hall, a completely linear hall, which we'll get into in a second, and they almost challenge you. As they sit in the stands and watch you run through their challenges, the monsters that they feel like throwing at you, the puzzles, whatever they can think of, they'll throw it all at you, and if you can entertain them, they'll give you a reward.
So, what makes the Theatre of Blood unique compared to the Chambers of Xeric? We don't want to just offer you the same thing twice. And the first point to note is that we're going to aim for smaller teams with this content and aim it to be around 3 to 5 players and really focus on that small group of players.
Up next is teamwork. So teamwork is absolutely essential with Raids 2 in the Theatre of Blood. You will not be able to leech through the Theatre of Blood. You're going to have to pave your way. You're going to have to actually put in the work. Everybody on your team is going to have to do a specific role when it comes to a certain room or what have you. You're not going to be able to just sit in the background and take a break.
And that links in nicely with the fact we're aiming at 3 to 5. We can really look concretely at what each individual player is going to be doing in a specific challenge. So, food drops and no skilling in this content. You will go in there with a bunch of supplies, and you have to make it to the end with that supplies and any drops you get from the challenges you take on within.
Right. So if you're faced with a very difficult boss, he might consume some of your supplies. Sorry. And as I mentioned, and we will get through very shortly, this is a linear raid, which means that you don't have the opportunity to run back to another room where you might have left some food or run to the bank or whatever. You bring in what you have. Hopefully it lasts the entire time. And if you kill a boss who happens to drop some meat, then fantastic, you got some food. Or maybe you entertain the vampires. Maybe they'll throw you some food. And speaking of being linear, so this is not going to be randomized. You won't get into a raid and then think, oh, I have no idea what I'm going up against next, what's in the next room. You will know, without a doubt, the exact level of all of these rooms leading up to the final boss at the end.
And that's all just to put that real emphasis on something that you can learn and master and produce faster and faster raid times throughout the Theatre of Blood. And of course, the raid will end with a challenging final boss in a similar vein to the Great Arm in the Chambers of Xeric. We want to end with a bang, something that's insanely challenging for the PVMers going in there.
And lastly is the death system. This is perhaps the biggest change here as a comparison compared to the Chambers of Xeric. The death system in the Theatre of Blood will be I'm trying to think of the terminology for it. It's a wiping mechanic, which means that if you run into a room with 5 teammates, and one of you dies, that person cannot just respawn and run back into the room to help his teammate. He has to sit and watch at the beginning of the room and hope that his remaining 4 teammates can do the job. If they cannot do the job, they need to die and wipe, which restarts the room, wastes any supplies and times that you've put into the room, and there you go.
So, we want to give you a little example of one of the challenges we've been thinking about, just to give you a little bit of insight into what's going on inside our heads.
Yeah. So this is the first room. Essentially what we had here is we've got plenty of rooms that will all lead up to the final boss. Now they're all, believe me, really exciting, challenging, difficult bosses or puzzles or what have you. We don't want to expose all of them because you're going to learn the mechanics and the secrets. Wooks is here. He's going to learn all of this before we even put the thing live. But we'll give you a couple of rooms, all right? This is the first room. This is the Keymaster. As you approach this room with your team, there's a massive boss. He's got a massive key he's carrying. Eventually, your team will be able to take him down, hopefully. If you kill him, you're going to have to carry this key. It's a heavy key. You have to carry it to the end to unlock the next door. However, because the key is so heavy, you have to carry it with both hands. No weapon, no shield, and you can't run. You're walking very slowly, and you're very vulnerable to all of the monsters that are coming out of the corridors you can see on the side. All of these swarms of monsters will be targeting the key carrier. He's going to have to do an incredible job tanking. That's what the remaining teammates have to do. You have 4 or however many other teammates you have that have to do the defending. They have to have the barrages, the chins, what have you. They need to keep the key carrier alive. And eventually the key carrier is going to get exhausted. He's going to have to drop the key and replace somebody else's role as the killer. A killer's going to have to swap out, carry the key, and hopefully finish the job.
It really showcases that emphasis on assigning roles. Like, you'll assign someone to take on the creature from this corridor here, and you'll assign someone, obviously, to carry the key, and I love that, and the planning that's going to have to go into it as a team. So, with no great raiding dungeon, can go without great rewards. And the first thing I want to mention is that, obviously, power creep is a concern in the community. It's a concern for us as well, and we want to get it absolutely spot on. And just like the Chambers of Xeric, we want to really focus on working with the community to get this right. As you've seen with the Chambers of Xeric, we went back and forth with a load of different ideas until we eventually ended up what we did with the Twisted Bow and Dragon Claws, etc. And so we want your ideas. Send them across, we're listening, and we'll go back and forth as much as we need to make sure we get the right rewards for this content.
Right.
Yeah.
So immediately after this presentation, our eyes are going to be glued to Reddit, social. Our Q&As are a great opportunity to pitch suggestions for weapons or armors or consumables, anything you can think of as a reward. Now, we do have a couple ideas. I'm going to go through one that I like in specific. The armor reward.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh, should we save that a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Let's get to the basic loot obtained through each raid. That's pretty special. That's, again, something that's quite different to the Chambers of Xeric. With this, you're not just going to get a reward at the end when you beat the final boss. Because with that, you could have spent 2, 3, 4, 5 hours and maybe never even made it to the boss or defeated the last boss, so it's a waste of time. With this, you're going to get something after every single room. It's not going to be anything amazing. It's going to pay for your time and supplies. So we're not looking to absolutely smash any best in slot moneymakers, but you might kill a boss in one room and get 100k for each player, something to that standard, and then balancing that depending on how many rooms are remaining, and then what you actually get for the final boss and how big that is. That also comes into factor.
So getting it on those new armors.
There we are, the armors. All right, beautiful artwork here from Mod West. So with the armors, what we want is something to really tell the world. As I mentioned earlier with Bounty Hunter, we want to be able to tell the world how amazing you are at specific pieces of content. Raids in specific. Some of you guys specialize in this stuff. It's what you do all day, every day. With these armors, we're going to give you an extremely rare chance to receive these from the final boss. Now, these are going to be great, but not amazing in the actual game itself. Right? We're thinking maybe like barrows. However, in the actual raid itself, they're going to be spectacular. As I mentioned with that previous Rumen carrying the key, these armors will have certain benefits. We could throw on the legs. We could give them a benefit in that room in specific that will help you carry the key a little bit farther. Increase your stamina. Maybe you can walk a bit quicker. Maybe you can carry it a bit farther, what have you. That's what we're looking for here with these armors. They're going to have actual in-raid benefits. And they're going to look like, you only have these if you're good at the raids, essentially.
Yeah.
If you find somebody with these armors, you want him on your team.
It's something to really showcase what you've achieved, right? So another idea I've been considering are a new base for a set of potions. Vials of blood. So obviously we have vials of water. They form most of the potions in the game. We've seen vials of coconut milk. But something we could offer here are vials of blood. And there's a few ideas we've been thinking about. Like the concept that you drink a potion, you take a bit of damage, but it's in exchange for a more powerful boost. There's gaps with magic and range to have a combat potion variant of those, so they'll boost your defense and your magic level at the same time, that sort of thing. But again, this is very much open to your ideas and suggestions of what you want to see.
Yeah, the Zamrak brew is really iconic, actually.
Yeah.
It's the only thing like it in the game. And we definitely could play around with that.
We missed one, but...
Did we miss a slide?
This thing double clicks.
Do you want to explain the other room?
3 new weapons.
Right.
We want to offer as well. So I'd love to offer a weapon for each of the 3 styles, and we're not sure exactly what yet, but I really like the idea that you power them up with blood runes, panic buy, and they offer different special abilities when powered up, like passive effects as you use the weapons, just to give you something a little bit different to what's currently on offer right now. We're also missing, with magic especially, like a special attack that has KO potential, and I think that's a gap that it would be cool to fill.
There's just a couple ideas I can run you through quickly. So essentially, again, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about creating a new skill, we can't invest a year's worth of time into making everything and then you guys saying, we don't like that. So we're going to work with you from the very beginning and make something absolutely to your preferences. But an example of a magic spell, something we don't really have in the game, is a chained spell. So you damage an opponent and in front of you, an NPC, and it might chain to the guy next to him or the one next to him. Or another one where it's like a barrage damage that you can cast on yourself. So it's not just hitting the 6 squares or whatever it is in front of you, but also getting the guys behind you. There's so many different elements we can throw into this, especially with magic.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys can think of.
So let's go through what we just heard right there. What are your initial thoughts before we run through each individual part of it?
Well, there's a lot to talk about, but I do really like how they mentioned like wiping mechanics within this new raid.
Yeah.
Because like when I tried soloing Xerix and stuff, it's fine, but I didn't like if I died, I could just walk back in and finish off the fight.
Right, he's still sitting there with whatever health you had, or whatever health he had when you got killed.
Or if it's like Vespula and you die, well, now you go in, you have to fight all of its fucking minions and Vespula, and she's gonna try and hatch more minions, and you know what I mean? Like, it's really sloppy.
Fair enough.
I really didn't like that with Xerix, but...
And it seems like they felt the same way, almost.
Yeah.
So, let's go through the concept of it, of a linear raid. It almost sounds like an arena fight, something you would just kind of walk in, and then bam, this boss is gonna come right out, and now you gotta fight it.
So I feel like it's more of like a traditional raid, in terms of it's like, compared to like WoW or something. Like, I don't know if there'll be trash rooms, but like, you go in, you fight one boss, you get rewarded. You fight the second boss, you get and the better you are, the more bosses, the better rewards. And the last, you do a full clear, and you get like a good chance at like this special gear.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like this. Like, this raid sounds much more appealing to me than Chamber of Xerix.
Yeah.
Just for
Chamber
me
of Xerix seems like a dungeoneering their version of dungeoneering.
Yeah, it's like dungeoneering that's not a skill. Dungeoneering as a piece of PVM content, I guess. You know what I mean? Even though that's what dungeoneering was, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like you go here, you do your dungeoneering-esque gameplay. And dungeoneering, I was never like, when I played like RuneScape and they had it way back in the day, I was never the biggest fan of it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was never super into it. Everyone liked it, or a lot of people liked it, but yeah, it wasn't really my thing.
Seems like people either loved it or they hated it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I just wasn't really what I was into. And like, Xerix is fine, but I mean, there's obviously a lot of things I can and have complained about the raid. At least like from my opinion of being like a new player, like a new raider, I guess, trying it all out and doing it all solo. There's like a lot of things I disagree with how they did, but it sounds like this new raid would be way more like preferable for someone like me and how I like to play like my MMOs and stuff.
They do say it's going to be geared between 3 and 5 player teams.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be, I'm sure Wooks will find a way to solo it, but like they said they were going to even show him some of the mechanics and get his opinions on it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to prevent people from being able to solo it.
Yeah, that's what I want, right? Like, I was only soloing raids because I had no one to play with, and I don't want to do masses, because I've never heard a good thing about mass, like, free-for-all raids. I've only heard bad things about it. And,
right.
I don't know, like, I find, like, it kind of sounds like, hey, we're a clan recruiting people to start doing high-end PVM content, bosses and raids. We have, like, 2 teams going on right now. We need, like, another person. Kind of like more of a traditional, like, guild or clan recruitment for raids. Like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like the concept of this raid. I'm like more familiar with, and so I'm like more comfortable with the idea, and I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, and they also mentioned there's not going to be any skilling involved, so you don't have to. So any NMZ prods out there, boom, you guys, it's going to be gravy.
The one thing I do like though is what it sounded like was you go in full inventory of your gear and your food, and you're not guaranteed, oh, I killed this boss, now let me just re-gear with a full set of food. Like, if you mess up enough and you wipe enough, like, well, that's it, we're out of food, guys. You know what I mean?
We try, let's go back out, and I think the way they're going to have it planned is that you're going to have, if your team is pretty fucking good, you guys are top tier team, you should eventually be able to do it with your inventory of food.
Yeah.
But they also mentioned different ways of, like you said, the boss dropping food, or they said that if the vampires like what you're doing or somehow you're entertaining them, maybe they'll give you food.
Yep.
So which brings us to this whole like kind of gladiator kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty cool. They mentioned the first room where you're going to have to have almost like a designated key holder.
Yeah.
Where someone's going to have to sacrifice their weapon and their shield and their run energy to be able to, I don't know, bring the key somewhere, or maybe, who knows, right? They didn't go too much in depth with it, but yeah.
Yep.
So pretty interesting there. What do you think about the armor? Something that's probably outside of the raid going to be as good as Barrows. You know, so it's not the best, but still pretty good. But inside the raid, it's going to give you maybe some bonuses.
Honestly, I think this is like the best idea in terms of like when they're releasing new content from like something like this, like high-end raiding, because this is going to be probably more challenging than Xerix. Because Xerix you can get away with if you just put in enough time, right? Minus Vestula.
Sure. Generally, yeah.
Generally, if you have like the correct boss layout, the room layout, like you can do it eventually because you can just farm infinite materials pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. I gotcha.
But I feel like, and then, but also with Xerix, you get things like the Twisted Bow, which ruined a lot of bosses, right?
Well, I mean, it is a pretty top tier bow, but okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? In terms of like, you know, hitting 80s on Jad. I mean, it's Jad, I get it. Or like, they had to change Bandos' magic level. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of issues when Twisted Bow came out, because I'm just using that as an example, or like the Kodai gear. Like, it just...
When they release something as being the new best in slot.
Just in general,
right?
Right?
You mean?
Just face value, this is like the best in slot, like, wand now, or magic armor, the Elder Maul, like, you know what I mean? Like, when they release these best in slots, like, they, some people love it because they're bored of all this shit and they want new stuff, but then some people hate it. Like, I'm not always the biggest fan because I liked, you know, when Dragon Chain Bodies were the shit.
Sure, yeah, okay.
But this is like their way of counteracting it. They bring in this gear that, like, in that raid, it's top tier. Like, you want somebody decked out in this, like, vampire-esque boss gear. Like, you know what I mean? The fact that it's, like, vampire-esque, like, it could be really cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
But,
it reminds me of, like, okay, this is gonna be, like, a very obscure reference, I'm sure. But back in the MapleStory days, when you're looking for a party quest, which was their version of raids or dungeons, and you're looking for that one dude to fill this role. So maybe you'll have a guy decked out and you're like, shit, like, you're gonna really help us. Just come on in and let's get this.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, but at the same time, wearing it outside of the raid, it's, you know, it's still gonna be... It's not gonna be shit, right? You're still gonna be able to wheel... It might not be the best. You know, Bandos might still be more efficient, but... You know, it'll still be up there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not... It's good, but it's definitely not the best.
Yeah, okay.
But,
That's...
And then it also shows, like, if this guy has this, he probably raids a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's probably a good at PBM. Like, why else would he have it, right?
Yeah, and plus if you guys are all like an endgame team and you all have that gear, you can just blast through this a lot easier because you're like, you know, you're more equipped for it, and then you can have it on farm. As I said, it's not going to be the best money maker, but who knows? Maybe it'll be more competitive with the other money makers if you have that full gear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I find if you had like 5 Wookses, you know, probably would be a really good money maker because they're all just going to demolish every fight like super easily.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think about the new weapons too, where they're going to be the new, you know, kind of best in slots almost, but you're going to have to infuse them with blood runes to keep them, you know, as powerful as they want them to be?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm kind of not super happy about that.
What part do you have? What part are you a little iffy on?
Every time they release better weapons, it makes things like PKing like really sketchy in terms of like last couple times I've gone PKing, I get rushed by people with D claws and they almost just spec me out like straight up, and you're like, well, I mean, it happens with granite malls and shit. You know what I mean? Like there's like a lot of things you have to take in consideration, and it does change the way like a lot of things like, yeah, like, you know, they add PVM content, but now it kind of fucks with the PvP content that people are really into.
Yeah, okay,
and,
I see.
And, like, it's really tricky because they're constantly coming out with new items and stuff. Like, you're talking about the Zenite gear and like, just random things that are giving you higher max hits, and then they give you better weapons than with good specs. And they mentioned having KO potential, the magic spec weapon.
Yeah.
And, for like PVM and stuff, I'm totally down, right? Because it's kind of boring bringing like a Sarah Godsword or a Crystal Halberd to like every single boss I'm fighting, right?
Sure.
Like,
and let's be real. How often do you see someone with a twisted bow? You know, that's still pretty rare, right? So
yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple people, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's not an issue yet. It's not the meta.
Yeah, they're not laying like everywhere.
So what are your thoughts on having to use blood runes to infuse it? Because I personally, when I heard that, I was like, that's having to use blood runes on a melee weapon to kind of get them a little bit stronger. It seems pretty interesting. It seems like a good way to, I mean, kind of have to, I don't know, like not a gold sink, sorry. It seems like a good way to make it so you're not able to just freely use it. You're going to have to spend the money. Kind of like barrows, but, one step up.
And I mean, blood runes are decently expensive already in terms of, I mean, when I'm selling my Slayer tabs, blood runes, I can usually, like, if I'm scrounging for money, I usually find a mill or two worth of blood runes in my bank. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Like, they add up quite a bit, and because through Slayer, you get a bunch, but they're still worth a lot, right? Because of, like, ancient magics and, like, all, pretty much ancient magics, but you know what I mean? Like,
even the normal spell book still, right? Because you can still have your end game kind of damage spells with blood runes. But.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it would make them really expensive, even more expensive, which is totally fine by me. But
that's what you're looking at, is how much money you're going to be making from Slayer.
I mean, I'd be making a lot. Maybe I'd unblock blood velds eventually.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
I think it's a pretty cool idea, and it kind of fits with the theme of things.
I'm just worried about like PvP and stuff.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. And you these are things you want to do right. They mention themselves. They're keeping power creep in mind.
Yeah.
They don't want people being able to go out and be like, bam, max hit 99.
Like, I would like it if these weapons specifically did less damage to people or something. I don't know, that sounds kind of stupid, like, in terms of people. Like, I just don't want it to be like, now, instead of being scared of, like, getting hit with a 70 AGS spec in the wilderness, now it's a 90
scared of an 80,
bloody AGS. I don't know what the hell these weapons would be called, but
that sounds like something they're going to be keeping in mind, so, which is good. That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea, but again, has to be done right.
Yeah.
When they were talking about some of the raid armors, they had a melee and range armor. I liked those ideas as well, but a lot of people disagree with, they were just too powerful and they got scrapped. So hopefully they kind of are learning from stuff like that, and they're going to be like, okay, we'll make this good, but it can't be like that much fucking better.
Yeah. Because the big thing is, if they say, we'll make this the best in slot, but it's expensive to use, like,
that doesn't matter to some people. Some people are so rich, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, there's so many people that have, like, a stupid amount of money. You go to the dueling arena, you're gonna find people, like, that have billions that just have nothing to do with, you know what I mean? They have so much money that, like, yeah, and then obviously you have people that have literally zero bank because they lost at the dueling arena. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that have, like, billions and billions, or they have, like, a twisted bow that they don't really use, they just kind of have it. And, so, like, making something amazing, but expensive to use, all it really does is that's content for, like, the 1%.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, okay, it's really good, but you don't want, like, the guys with too much money to now be able to make more money than everyone else.
Yeah.
And have unfair advantages in things that, like, money shouldn't be the biggest factor, even though it is right now in PvP, but, you can still outplay someone.
Yeah, for the most part. You don't want to see some guy rocking the new vampire sword with no armor on and he's just KOing people.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am interested. I hope it's done right. I do like the idea of having to use blood runes to infuse this new vampire weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's ways they can do it so it still very top tier, but not necessarily overpowering everything else. Because we already have things like the bludgeon and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like as of right now, I don't know if I'm not, obviously I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm pretty happy with how the weapons are right now. In terms of where they all sit. Like I don't really find that like, man, these just don't do enough damage for the current PVM content we have.
Yeah. I do agree. It seems like I agree in the sense that every year they don't need to release like 10 new weapons for us, in my opinion. I feel like people I don't know. You don't want to overdo it with the weapons. You don't want some new guy coming back to the game and then being like, holy shit, there's like 50 new fucking tier 80 weapons, right?
Yeah.
So,
but
I hope they do it right. But
that being said, like obviously you can't just only do this, but like what they're doing with the armor, where they're giving you special buffs and benefits within the raid, but they're mid tier, like, you know, they're barrow tier, I guess, level.
Yeah,
gear.
yeah.
Like I love that idea. I think it's so cool.
It's good, and it's pretty safe. Like, I'm pretty sure they're pretty confident with that armor and stuff. And, yeah, I'm sure they're going to see what we all think about the weapons and stuff.
And it makes it balancing, like, makes the balance of it a little easier, right? Because if the armor is too good outside of the raid, but it's, like, good, but it's, like, a fine number within the raid, they can just reduce whatever would make it fair in you know, Gilnor, like within actual RuneScape, and then put those reduced stats and just revert them when you're in the raid.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes balancing better, and it makes niche content like a little more interesting, right?
Exactly, and like I'm pretty sure you don't have to worry about, you know, the Theater of Blood being dead content in 6 months because of, you know, things like this. So you don't have to worry about there. Pretty safe. All right, what about the consumables? Dropping, you know, maybe vials of blood instead of, you know, something new, instead of the vial of water and stuff like that. Or being able to drink the potion and it'll give you the new best magic stat, and it gives you also defense stat, but also hurts you. It brings down your attack and strength.
I'd like to see it linked with the quest.
Yeah? Okay.
Because it's that type of, like, if you're drinking blood, that's like a very vampire-esque thing.
That's a cool idea.
So it would be kind of cool that, like, I'm literally throwing this off the top of my head, but you have a quest within the area, like a new one, kind of like a Monkey Madness 2 tier quest, like a high tier quest, where you're supposed to help someone do something, but then they bite you and you turn into a vampire or something. And then you have to do some sort of ritual. You have to go through a series of things to, like, revert or, like, reduce as much of the damage that's been done to you. So you don't need to drink people's blood. You have to do something to, like, you know, get rid of that. I don't really know. And then in the end, it's like, yeah, now you can drink this blood and it won't kill you. I mean, it'll hurt you, but you know what I mean? Does that make any sense what I'm saying? Like,
I think so, but
I would like it. I'd like to just see a vampire quest heavily related to your character involved with, like, unlocking that type of potion.
You know, interesting you mentioned that, though, because they also teased on maybe a new spell, right? Something that could maybe you attack one thing and it chains to the next monster, or something where you cast, or something similar to an ice barrage that you would cast on yourself and it would attack everything around you. It's almost like they were teasing at maybe a new spell book. I don't know. You know, they didn't really say anything about a quest, but, you know, at the same time, maybe similar to kind of Skyrim, where you could become in Skyrim, where you can change into a vampire and unlock some new spells and unlock some new stats. Maybe a quest where you could, like, turn into, like, a vampire-esque kind of person, which gives you some new magic spells to work with. I don't know. That's an interesting idea. They didn't say anything about that, obviously, but
yeah, I mean,
you mentioning the quest kind of made me start thinking. Especially paired with new spells. You know, it could definitely be a new spell
with the potion itself, if you're just taking damage, like, it's not, like, if it's real, like, it you know, you'd have to take a lot of damage. Like, taking damage once isn't that big of a hit for getting the best in-slot boost, if that makes any sense, right? Sure. The best boost, like, cause, like, if you're taking it, generally you're gonna like, oh, I took 40 hit points, like, that's a lot, but you just eat 2 sharks and you're done. But now for the next, 5-10 minutes, you have better boosted stats than what you could before, especially if you have the preserve prayer.
Yeah, okay.
So it would be kind of tricky to balance it, but yeah, maybe if it hurt you every time a stat dropped or went up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they said they were taking inspiration kind of from the Zamorak brew, right? Mm. Which, if you don't know what that one does, it raises your attack by 20% plus 2, and then it raises your strength by 12% plus 2. But what happens is it temporarily lowers your defense, and it does damage you by 10%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, but yeah. I don't know. I'm just wondering what kind of numbers they'd want, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to the idea, of course.
Yeah, it's something that they could definitely, like they said, they want to communicate a lot with the community, because they don't want it to be like sailing where they spend like a year working on it and then they pull like, what do you guys think? Here's the idea. And everyone's like, nah, fuck it. Yeah. Work on something else. And then it just gets totally canned. So the next announcement is more directed towards skilling. All right, so again, this is a 5-minute clip, so go ahead, skip ahead if you've heard it already. If not, stay tuned and sit back and listen and enjoy.
For this year's update, next year's big skilling update for that matter, there's a lot of skills that could do with a little bit of love, a lot that we get suggestions on from Reddit and from Twitter, and after a bit of discussion, we decided that the skill that we want to look at and tackle is farming. So Modash has already been hard at work on this. Modash has been working on the farming timer, making it more consistent. That's something that we really want to get out sometime this year. But on top of that, we also want to start expanding those underused patches. Most people do their tree runs, their fruit tree runs, and every now and then they'll plant some herbs, they'll get their herbs, and that's about it. And that's quite a shame, really. Like, farming is a skill that has so much to offer that we've kind of neglected. So we want to expand some of those patches. We want to add snape grass to be grown in allotments. Modash came up with this great idea of growing in the hop patch, like bamboo that is battle staffs. I thought that was brilliant. Some great ideas for those underused patches. We also want to add variety to patches that you already use. So we want to add some new herbs, chaotic herb seeds that will give you a variety of seeds, herbs for that matter, when you harvest. Completely different, but double the resource to kind of counteract that. Evil trees, we want to make evil spirit trees inside of the wilderness so that you can teleport in there and consume those spirit tree seeds that you all have. And on top of that, we also want to add a new fruit tree, the dragon fruit tree. That's going to be the new highest level fruit tree, offering more experience than palms. And we think that secondary is probably going to be used for those potions that we spoke of earlier. We also want to add livestock. We saw so many people ask for livestock, and Gentle Tractor's post, it swayed us, absolutely. So we want to start work on that. And you're probably wondering how it works. It's a little bit different than regular farming. So you have 2 barns around the world, one in Lumbridge, and one will be found somewhere else, which we can talk in just a little bit. And in those barns, you have 2 pens. There'll be a farmer that you can purchase your animals from resources or cash, and you can essentially take care of them, just like in real life. Animals grow over time, and you can harvest them over time. So we're thinking of some higher level creatures there. We've gotten the baby moles, the baby dragons, and ancient snakelings. Those are some of the higher levels that we thought of. And we'd be really interested in seeing what you guys think in terms of what we should add to this. But compared to regular farming, you don't just plant the seed, run off, come back, you harvest, and you're done. You can harvest these multiple times. Baby moles can give you magic roots, and baby dragons shed their scales. You can also milk ancient snakelings for their anti-venom multiple times. Yes, I said milk. But the problem with animals is that, they have a lifespan, So near the end of it, you can also slaughter them for a different resource and a very large chunk of experience. So baby moles will, of course, give you their skin and their claws, dragons' bones, and their dragon hide, as well as ancient snakelings, Zulra scales from the ancient snakelings. Some really cool ideas, we think, that is really going to add to the variety of stuff that you can get from farming, something that we really think it's lacking. Now, on top of livestock and expanding those patches and adding variety to patches, we also want to do one more thing. As many of you might have saw, Gentle Tractor's post also mentioned a farming guild, and we'd like to tackle that in Zaya as well. The farming guild will be found to the west of the Shazian clan, and It's going to be a little bit different than regular guilds. It's going to have 3 tiers, tier 60, 70, and 80. And there's going to be a multitude of things in there. The guild itself is actually sentient. It lives. You can hack it, what's in there. I mean, the second pen that I mentioned, but there's a multitude of patches, new cactus patches, spirit tree patches, the redwood tree patch that we've never introduced before. We've got an absolute multitude of stuff that you're going to add to your farming run. There's some interesting things on there that you might see. So we've got a new growable and fightable demi-bots, which will give you a nice chunk of experience, as well as several high-level seed drops and some new uniques. So we're thinking of bottomless compost buckets so that you can take it with you on your farm run, you charge it with compost, etc. But there's also one more cool thing on there that I really want to talk about, and that's the Gaia patch. Now, the Gaia patch is unique. It affects the entirety of the world. It affects all patches that it touches. We've got 3 ideas at the moment. Double-clicked. We've got 3 ideas at the moment. Depending on which one you grow, all your patches will have some unique effects. So one that we were thinking of is, if you grow that center flower in there, all your patches will give you substantially more resources when farming. The one on the left, a substantially lower chance of disease, and the one on the right, it can potentially skip stages of farming to speed your runs. The first stage of growth will be instantly skipped if that's grown. Some pretty cool ideas, we think, and we're certainly interested in hearing all of your ideas. Again, as with the previous Theatre of Blood, we're going to be checking Reddit, checking Twitter. Please come up to us today and give us ideas.
All right, so here we are with some farming. A new farming expansion coming up this year. Yeah, general thoughts?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested with this. I think it's kind of needed, because, as they mentioned, you kind of just do trees and herbs.
Yeah.
I cut out the trees because I don't really need to level my farming anymore. I just do herb runs. But I do like being able to grow snape grass and the whole bamboo staff thing, and yeah, I don't know, I'm liking it.
So yeah, he went over the evil spirit tree, so similar to how the spirit trees work now, but instead these ones would grow in the wilderness, so you could teleport using the spirit trees into the wilderness. What do you think about that?
I think that might be pretty cool. I like it just because in like, you know, you go to kill a boss or something in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna find teams just camping the burning amulet teleport spots or the ancient magic teleport spots. Like,
fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
I do like the more options to kind of traverse around the wilderness. So I'm kind of down for that.
All right. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I'm interested to hear more about it. What about the livestock? Being able to actually have animals. The ones they mentioned were the like baby moles, the baby dragons, and they're like the Zolra snakelings.
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, pretty good idea to have actual monsters, but like animals and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people have suggested it quite a bit, like they mentioned, and yeah.
Yeah, I would hope you'd be
I
able
always thought like basic things like pigs and cows and chickens, but
yeah, exactly. I think
never really considered dragons and maybe if that's like high end husbandry like content, but
yeah, exactly. And I like the idea of having chickens and stuff, at lower levels, being able to have that instead.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Because all those little guys offer some things. Chickens with their eggs and stuff. I don't know what pigs would offer.
Yeah, I don't really
bacon
know.
eventually.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's something random, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Random, typical farm animals is kind of what I expected.
Yeah, why not? So pretty cool. And then having a farming guild, which was actually a suggestion from Gentle Tractor on Reddit, a week or so ago. It's something I was going to talk about, but it came up in here, so that worked out. And yeah, having the guild, and they mentioned being able to grow or plant or something. Being able to have a demi-boss that you can grow, I guess.
Yeah.
That one I'm interested in. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's a unique idea. What do you think of a demi-boss being, farmed? Like, you can grow a demi-boss that you eventually have to kill.
Kind of a weird idea, but I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be nice to see how they work it out.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned the Gaia patches where you could skip one of the stages of growing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So cool. That sure, why not? Yeah, it's all pretty good, which next brings us to their PvP segment. Or section, I should say. This is a two-part. I kind of split it up. So, first one being 3 minutes long. All right. So let's play that right now for you guys.
So for this next update, we'll have mod screen up shortly. But this next thing is, if we can get to it here, the PvP rejuvenation. So as you guys might know, I'm a bit passionate with PvP. We've had some fun ideas. We've done Wilderness Wars. We just did the Dead Man Mansions. We love all of it. We love all of the competitive gaming events and what they bring to the game. But what we're going to get into right now is Bounty Hunter in specific. We're going to get into the actual game and one of the updates in the game. With Bounty Hunter, we're going to be bringing in Slayer tasks for players. Player bounties will be essentially Slayer tasks for players. What's going to happen is the Emblem Trader has been given the ability to look at your account and see your stats. He can say, I see you've got base 90 stats. You're a pretty high level. Go kill your next target with a full barrow set equipped. That's a task. If you're able to complete this, you can come back to him and say, I did what you asked me, now give me something. Now eventually, after completing several of his tasks, you'll gain ranks. You'll start out at rank 0, of course, but eventually gaining these ranks will get you a mysterious loot crate. It's not going to be anything incredible. It's not going to be best money-making method in the game. Not even going to come close. But, you might find some PKing supplies. You might find nothing. It's just going to add a little bit of value to your PKing experience and help out those newer players who are trying to get into it. The guys who go out there and die 30 times a day, they'll appreciate this one. And with the bounty hunters, with the player bounties, we can look at all types of accounts. We can look at 1 defense accounts with 60 attack. We can say kill your next target with a DDS kill. All sorts of things there. So we just mentioned the reward system. And of course, what's beautiful about this is you get to set goals. You get to actually look at your account and decide on what you want to do in Bounty Hunter. You don't have to just go out there with whatever the meta is. You don't have to use what everybody else is using. And that's what's really nice about this, is it's going to add some variety to Bounty Hunter. You're going to run out there into Edgeville and you're going to see people using all different types of gears and weapons because they all want to complete their tasks. It's not going to be the same thing anymore. And there are incentives to stay. If you see yourself at rank 3.8 and you really want to get to rank 4, you might stay on for the extra hour or two. And then you'll find yourself coming close to rank 4 after handing in some more bounties, and you'll probably want to stay a bit longer. I'm just imagining now the streams of road to rank 1,000 or road to rank 100. And with that will come rewards. Not just the mysterious loot crates, but also a new armor found in the Bounty Hunter shop. As I mentioned earlier with raids, what we want to do is put something into the game that will help tell the world how amazing you are at the content that you specialize in. One of my favorite things in the game is the yellow decorative armor from Castle Wars. Right? Very prestigious, very expensive, but it's only tier 30. It's only adamant equivalent. What we want to do is add something a little bit nicer into Bounty Hunter. Probably just tier 40, potentially up to tier 70, depending on the community's reaction to this, essentially. But what this is going to do is it's going to cost a fortune. You have to be rank maybe 1,000. We'll decide on that when we get to the balancing, but it's going to take you a very long time. And eventually, you'll be able to show off to the world that you are incredibly skilled when it comes to Bounty Hunter.
All right, so quickly, what do you think about player bounties? Slayer, but for against PvP people.
I mean, I think that's super sweet. Games like EVE Online, you can place bounties on other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally down for that.
I personally think it's a cool concept. I see what they want from it, but when I heard it, I was like, shit, I don't know.
What made you say that?
I don't think it's going to work the way they're wanting it to. And I could see it just being people farming bounties off each other. I can't imagine, him thinking that people are going to be, fighting out of meta in Edgeville. I feel like if you get a shitty bounty where it's like, oh, do this, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm probably just going to die a bunch before it takes me to get... You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like most people are going to end up farming each other to get their bounty levels up or whatever it's called. It's a cool idea.
I kind of like the idea more for being able to place a bounty on another person.
Yeah, okay.
If someone has killed you X amount of times, if you're each other's targets and they've killed you... Mm-hmm. Say 3 or 4 times, you could place a bounty on them and for X amount of money. And if someone kills them, I don't know, whatever. They get benefited and you get satisfaction, but then again, that's also easily abusable. But well, yeah, I like the concept. It is kind of, I didn't really think about how the people just farm off of each other.
When I heard it, I was like, that's a really cool idea. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you have your pure out and it's like, get a kill with a DDS. And you're like, oh, okay, because it's going to be like kind of restrict to what you can actually use. It's not going to be like, you're level like 50 and it's like, you gotta get a kill in full barrels. Motherfucker, I'm not going to raise my defense for that. So they do keep that in mind, which is good. And, when you have rewards that, you have to be a certain bounty rank, that you're always going to have people that are trying to get that rewards. There's always going to be a few. Mm-hmm. But it's funny that you mentioned the whole placing a bounty on someone's head. Do you remember a website called RuneScape Community.com or .net back in the day? Back in like the 2007 era?
Not really.
Okay, well, it was like kind of like a forum, but tons of people would go there, and that's where I used to go to watch all of my PKing videos. You would download like 20-minute videos of people fighting in Mage Bank and stuff like that, and that's where I went to find it all. But they had a section where you could place bounties on people's heads. You could also like have death matches against people where you'd bring like 10 mil cash with you, and it seemed to more or less work out most of the time. But yeah, they would have the bounties where like, oh, this motherfucker keeps PJing me, or this motherfucker keeps, just BMing me, or whatever it is, right? Some guy who's just giving you a hard time, and let's say you have a lot of money, so you're just like, whoever can kill this guy, I'll give you 10 mil. And I guess this could have been abused, but I never got the impression that it was being abused. Like, this guy would message her, be like, hey, I'll split the cash with you. But a lot of the times, like, you'd find a guy, like, 6 months down the road being like, hey, I found this dude and killed him. They take a screenshot of the guy's name being, oh, you just slayed, Deegan, let's just say. Mm-hmm. And then they'd place it, and then they'd kind of do the exchange where the person would get the money then. But yeah, I remember that being kind of a thing where somebody would put a bounty up, and then you'd kind of add the guy, and hopefully he would turn his private chat on. You could see what world he's in. Like, oh shit, I'm going to hop in and see if he's in the Edgeville, or if he's out PKing. Or maybe when you're out PKing, you bump into him, because this guy is, out in the wilderness all the time, right? So that was a pretty cool idea, but I just wanted to bring that up because that just kind of reminded me. Good times. A little nostalgia there. But let's finish off what they were talking about with the PvP. So a little bit more. This section is going to be about 7 minutes long, okay? So here we go.
Mage Arena 2, right? So the first Mage Arena actually came out 10 years ago yesterday. So big anniversary there. The God Cape has been best in slot for way too long. Yeah. So it's time we address that. Initially, we pitched a cape with the Brimstone release. You guys weren't happy with that. You wanted dedicated, specialized content that made more sense to you. Understandably, I wasn't in the team then, but I was one of those players with that opinion. So that's why we're going with Mage Arena 2. New best in slot God Cape. We don't have exact stats yet, but we're looking at pretty much doubling what we've got now, which I believe is plus 10.
Yeah, so I mean, look at the God Cape right now. It's free. Yep. It's best in slot. They look great. They're iconic. But it's been over a decade. Yep. We just did this with the Fire Cape. We brought in the Infernal Cape.
Really easy to obtain. You don't even need to finish Mage Arena to get the cape.
Exactly. You just need to cast some spells, and there you go, you get it. So we're going to add some challenge to this, and we're going to make the cape better.
Yeah, so rather than just casting spells in an arena, we're looking at, we should probably rename it actually, because we're doing this across the whole wilderness. So Mage Arena 2 working title, but it's a sequel, essentially. 3 bosses found in varying locations in the wilderness. Important to note that they're going to be in a variety of spawns, right? So no clan can camp one to stop you getting your cape. We'll be using a hot-cold device to find your thing, similar to what you do in Friendly Trials, I imagine, something like that. A lot more challenging to obtain, and importantly, really challenging to re-obtain. You have to do it again. You can't just go and pray at a statue, get another cape. So this is, it's going to be super powerful. We're looking at plus 20 rather than the plus 10 you've got now. Equally, it's going to be hard to get.
So what you can expect to find is so many players running out in the wilderness just in hunt, in search, and telling their friends, I found one of the bosses, I found one, and then they can kill it, and they can try to find the second and the third one, or maybe they'll hop worlds to try to find it. But as we mentioned, they're randomized, and they're always moving. You can't just camp and hold down one boss. It's going to be really revitalizing to the wilderness, actually.
For sure. And what I'd especially welcome is some kind of lore suggestions, how we can tie it into the initial. So what makes it a sequel for us is essentially that it's the second version of the cape. The 3 bosses, what we're planning on doing is making you cast the 3 god spells for each boss, so you'd have to go and change whatever staff and cape you're using. actually complete the first major arena, essentially. And then, so yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for the lore, how we can work it in, please do let us know. We'll welcome that. So what we're trying to do really is kind of create an ecosystem in the wilderness. So people will be in the wildy trying to get to cape. Also, people will be in Revenant caves trying to get some stuff.
Come on, guys, Rev caves, no?
Nobody's interested. Okay.
All right. There are some people who will absolutely love this.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
People have been clamoring for Rev caves ever since we released Oldschool, right? So it was like, we want God Wars, okay, cool, got your God Wars. Now we want the Rev caves. We're very keen on building on the principles of the original, we want to keep the spirit alive. The tunnels are going to look different. I think what we learned from the first one is, there's the thrill of a chase. When you're running through that tunnel, especially, people are DDing, logging in on certain spots, hidden away in just the corner, outside of the main cave. Awesome. We want to recreate that again.
Yeah, the beauty of doing content in the past and then seeing if it fits in old school is, well, we can take a step back and look at it and say, okay, what do we value in this and what do we not like? And we can make it as however we like it, really.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And of course, including the community and all of that.
So, variety of monster levels, as with the initial release. So you've got, so obviously think back to what we had. You had like your orcs, quite low level. Then you had your dragons, which were the proper juicy drops. Going on to drops, actually, we're looking at a very lucrative release for them. We don't have the drops outlined at the moment because, right, so go back to your initial one with raids. We're looking at so much armor coming into the game now. It's not, we're not just going to like throw on the PvP weapons and PvP armors because it doesn't fit, and it looked like 2018 was just full of overpowered stuff. We're keen to avoid that. So we're probably going to look at, I think we, right, so in our confidence thing, we said we're looking at kind of like pre-Zulrah nerf levels of income. I think we're trying to adhere to that.
Yeah, the thing is, you're not just running to a safe zone, an instant safe zone where you can just, run out there and farm and kill stuff and bring it back to your bank. You're going to an extremely dangerous area, which is going to be swarmed with player killers and other people trying to do the same thing you're doing, making money. The question for yourself is really, when you get there, do you feel like leaving after you get the first bunch of stuff? You've made 100K. Do you leave or do you stay?
Yep.
And then when the PKers come by and they find a guy who hasn't left in 3 hours, they're making money.
So broadly speaking, what we're going to do, right, we want PVMers to go and kill some stuff in Rev caves. We want PKs to go and kill those guys. We want PKs to go and kill those PKs. A nice little ecosystem based around this cave. Talking about kind of potential like unique rewards, what we'd like to do is give you guys a scroll, which will teleport you to pretty much the entrance, like the low-level wilderness area of the Rev caves. So if, let's say you and your mates were PKing, you guys get absolutely wiped. That's cool. You got your scroll, you go back, you re-gear, and then you've got the potential there for constant run-ins, right? That's what clans do. So if we can kind of facilitate that around this area, that'd be awesome.
Definitely. We've got some really incredible stuff coming to PvPers, and not just PvPers, that's totally PVM.
For sure.
Well, not totally, but PvPers will enjoy that one as well.
Some skilling as well, so it's not on the slide, but we have more to come. There might actually be more to come. I'm going to test that. Yes, much more too. A few examples would be the Chaos Altar in level 38 Wilderness, you might be familiar with. We want to give that a buff, so better, I think it's 25% better than a Gilded Altar, but obviously it's in 38 Wildy. You're going to get drops.
Yeah.
There'll be an NPC there, well, who will unnote your bones for you. So you have the potential there to go and grind prayer ridiculously quick, but that risk is going to be so high because someone logs in and you've got, 1k noted bones. See you later.
Yeah, essentially what we're looking at is making a new best in slot, or best way to train prayer.
Yep.
40 wilderness, or 38, sorry.
I think it's 38, yeah.
Multi, you can bring noted bones so you're fine.
And cash, obviously.
And cash, yeah.
Them, yeah.
And teams will be just praying to find you.
Hot commodity.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah, there's also other people have suggested a wilderness impling. I quite like the idea of that, but obviously it's up to the community to decide. And I'm really looking forward to this. We've had some raids, great PVM, the Farming Guild, great skilling, and then this is PvP, but it's bringing the PVM element, it's bringing the skilling element too. So this wilderness rejuvenation, people have been asking for a long time. Constant Q&As as well. We've had to kind of avoid the question because we knew we were pitching it at this event.
Yeah, they mentioned, let's go right through it. What are your thoughts on having a sequel to the Mage Arena? 3 bosses that kind of, I don't know if they teleport or they just kind of roam around the wilderness, but they would offer a new best in slot magic cape.
I mean, I like that a lot. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, because right now the best in slot magic cape is from the Mage Arena, which that's such an old cape, like they mentioned, and fairly easy to get. I never had to worry about PKers when I went. I didn't even think anyone would even come to look for me.
Yeah, it took me like not even 10 minutes. Just walk in and out. Like, oh, cool, best in slot mage cape, nice.
Right on. So, yeah, you think that's a pretty interesting idea. They're aware of the problem of having clans camping where the bosses might be, so that's why they have them either roaming or they're gonna change their spawns periodically.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of hard because, yeah, generally, like, you know, I've bitched about this before, but every time I go PKing or not PKing, killing like a wilderness boss, it always ends with somebody trying to kill me.
Yeah, okay.
And, like every single trip, it's either like I get out as I see people coming after me, or I get attacked and I escape, or I just die. And if I have to go through that to obtain this cape, then like, you know.
Yeah, okay.
At least make it less of a headache. Make it like, I don't know. The thing I liked about Mage Arena was if you got caught, the trip to the bank wasn't that far. Unless you got teleblocked, but then there was bats, you know what I mean? There's like easy ways to kind of get gap and to escape from these guys.
Yeah,
so
fair
as long as it's not super, super, super risky.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Like Callisto risky, where you're dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not making it out.
White dot pops up and you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
all right.
40 people log on, and you're dead.
GG. All right, your thoughts on the Revenant Caves? So this is something that's currently in RuneScape 3, and do you know much about the Revenant Caves or the history of the Revenants?
From my understanding, Revenants were the replacement for Wilderness PKing.
Yeah, that's right. So in 2007, when they took away the Wilderness, well, they took away free trade, and in turn, they had to take away things of like the Wilderness so that people couldn't kill each other to get free items, right?
Yeah.
So in doing so, yeah, they replace it with these Revenants in the Wilderness. And these things they could ice barrage you, they could teleblock you, and they were pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, they brought back the Wilderness. I'm sorry if I'm getting the timelines mixed up. Like I said, I pretty much quit during 2007, and then I came back every now and then, played some RSHD and stuff like that, but I never really got as big into it as I did back in 2007. So I don't know if you know more about this, so correct me when I'm wrong, but when they brought back the Wilderness, they still kind of had the Revenants, or I think they brought back PvP worlds first. And you could kill the Revenants for items called like corrupted dragon weapons and armor.
yeah.
And these were weapons and armor that basically had a lifespan, kind of like barrows where they would degrade, and then they would just disappear. You couldn't recharge them, they were just gone once they ran out. But I'm pretty sure you could only use them in PvP, but they were also able to be used in free-to-play. So they were now a new set that was the best in slot for free-to-play, but if you wanted to keep buying the corrupted dagger, you know, eventually it would break and you'd have to buy a new one. So, and then eventually people liked the Revs and that idea. They didn't want them to just disappear when the Wilderness came back, so they put them in this cave, which is where you could now in RuneScape 3 currently go and kill them, is in this cave.
Yeah.
Which resides in the Wilderness. So what are your thoughts? Because these Revs, they got some interesting mechanics. They worked almost like a player kind of almost would, but you got to deal with being teleblocked by them. Got to deal with getting ice barraged by them. Stuff like that.
So if they're going to be teleblocking you, I don't really like that.
No?
No, because the PVMers aren't going to do it. Like, a month from now, it's going to be dead content, because, like, I'm killing a guy, oh shit, somebody logged on, and he teleblocked me, and now I'm dead. Now
right,
this
okay.
Revenant just got me killed because this PKer now doesn't have to worry about me teleporting out. I have no escape now that he's going to ice barrage me to death.
True. Well, and although in RuneScape 3 there is an item you can bring that prevents the teleblocking from working.
Yeah.
It's a type of bracelet or something.
Yeah, but in like old school, I don't know. Like, I understand their idea behind like reviving the Wilderness, where PVMers will do it hoping they can get out alive with money, but then it's like PKers kill the PVMers and PKers kill the PKers.
Yeah.
But generally in the end, it seems like it just PKers win. Obviously, there's like a select few that will escape, but like the average player doesn't know or isn't comfortable with like, changing their prayers super quickly. They're not going to bring multiple sets. Like, oh shit, it's a DDS spec. Let me swap to my tank spec. Let me quickly hit my prayer button, my F key for prayer. Let me go to pray meal. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough. Yeah.
The average person is just going to get fucked and die. And like, I'm probably in that group too. I mean, I do like to think, I have tanked, like I've done some intense tanks from Callisto.
Yeah.
And shit like that. But even then, like, you're getting jumped by people and you're like there to PVM, you're kind of fucked. Like, you can't really defend yourself. And then, but those PKers will die. Yeah, but like to other PKers, and then it's like,
it's the circle of life.
Yeah, it's the circle of life. But in the end, it just seems like the clans will just end up kind of benefiting the most. But if they do it properly, then like I'm down. Like if they have like interesting like escape routes and shit like that, and like you're not gonna be perma-tellied, because like telly-block, like I'd be so annoyed killing a revenant and then be like, alright, now I gotta log out because I got TB'd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like having to do that like every 2 or 3 kills would be so goddamn annoying. Because logging in the wilderness is the worst feeling ever.
Okay, yeah. It's no good.
But I do like the idea of it. I think it would be kind of cool.
It depends how they do it, I guess, because like I said, I can only remember when they replaced in the wilderness, and then I can kind of remember, I'm just reading, I read up a bit about it in RuneScape 3, and I remember seeing some videos and stuff talking about it. But it depends if when they talk about bringing Revenants back, does that mean they're bringing the corrupted gear sets?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I don't want that to come back.
Although, it being pretty good for free-to-play, I mean, I don't know if that would be the worst. Because right now, when it's like, some of the higher levels fighting in Rune is kind of fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I've tried to fight in Rune, and normally every time you're just like, alright, let's just go naked.
Yeah, armor off, wear monk robes.
Yeah, but you still keep your armor in your inventory, because then what's the point of fighting if you're not going to be getting any loot?
I mean, you do Castle Wars, right? In free-to-play, and like people just don't die.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I don't know, I really do, because I don't like... If they bring in Revenant Keys with Corrupted, like, it's just literally straying from old school. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, they just keep implementing things from RS. I don't want, it's like, I don't dislike our RS3 because of microtransaction and EOC. It's just like how they keep compensating for like bad updates in terms of like now 120 is a max. Oh, Invention. Oh, Divination. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't...
Yeah. They didn't keep power creeping in mind until it was too late.
Yeah, like that's what I don't like about RS3, and obviously they do some things right in the game, but I don't want old school to literally stray into like, we have everything RS3 does, but we don't have EOC and microtransactions, so we're better. Like, I don't...
Fair enough.
I really don't want that to be a thing. I want it to be like, the way kind of old school was, just in terms of like simplistic.
Yeah, you don't want to... Yeah, I guess, again, we've said it before, but it's a slippery slope, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, sure, this could be done right, but at the same time, if you just copy and paste it from RS3, and then... Yeah, who knows where you draw the line, I guess.
The thing is, if it goes well, then that's cool. But if it goes bad, then like, oh, for fuck's sakes. You know what I mean? Like the risk versus reward doesn't really seem that great for me. Sure. There's a lot of risk, very little reward, but I do like the idea of like new ways to make money in the wilderness if you choose to do that, but...
Alright, well, I guess we'll
just have to see.
Yeah,
I need more info on that.
When it comes out into the poll, we'll see how, what their ideas are, so...
Yeah.
And lastly, for the PvP stuff they mentioned, they talk about kind of turning the Chaos Altar into a new best way to train your prayer. Similar to Gilded Altars, but 25% better, but you're going to be in the wilderness with, a bunch of noted bones and a bunch of cash, maybe. What are your thoughts?
I'm not really for it, but...
Yeah, that one was kind of seemed like an odd one, but... I don't know. I can't personally... I don't know if that would hurt the game or not. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. And then they also said maybe an idea of like a wilderness impling. For Hunter, you can kind of catch imps. There's a bunch of different types. They got one for which I don't know, but they got tons roaming around Gielinor right now, ranging in rarity and ranging in how good the loot is. And they're talking about maybe having an impling that only goes around in the wilderness. I've seen that suggested fucking long time ago on Reddit, and
would it be just dropping emblems?
I'm sure that would be on the drop table, to be honest, but
yeah, like
I think
tier
it was
1 to 10 or something, or like where would they just be tier 1s?
I don't know. That one was kind of like Mod Sween just kind of liked that idea, and he just kind of threw that out there
in passing or something.
Yeah, he said like maybe that instead. He's just talking about maybe bringing skillers into the wilderness more often to kind of, take them out of their safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and our last of the old school RuneScape announcements, if you've had listened to this at all already, you know exactly what's coming up, and if you haven't listened, I think you might be in for a treat. So, without further ado, here it is.
So, we've talked about skilling, we've talked about PvP, and we've talked about PvM. Now it's time to talk about quests. Yes. What he said. So, when you look back at RuneScape over the years, one of the things that truly makes this game iconic are its quests, its stories. And you guys, you've told us loud and clear that you want more quests in old school RuneScape. So, we thought we'll give you some more. Quite a few more, actually. And we've actually already spoken to you about some of the quests we've got lined up. Earlier, we mentioned Making Friends with My Arm, a new quest in the Troll series. We've spoken about new quests coming to Zaya that will be continuations of the story that we started with Klein of Korend earlier this year. And we've spoken to you about a new Fremennik quest. But there is one quest we've been working on that we haven't spoken to you about. A sequel to quite possibly the most iconic quest that RuneScape has ever seen. Not Sheep Shearer, it's Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer 2. You're far too kind. I haven't even told you any of the good stuff yet. I'm also kind of disappointed. We really should be doing Sheep Shearer 2. Can we cam this and do that instead? So, spoiler alert, Elvarg is dead. I'm sorry. I know it's hard, but you gotta move on. Elvarg is dead by your hand, but there are still many questions left behind. What was she doing on Crandor? Why did she attack the island? You will answer these questions, and a hell of a lot more, in Dragon Slayer 2, a brand new Grandmaster quest. And when I say Grandmaster, I really do mean Grandmaster. This quest will have puzzles, it will have combat, it will have exploration, all backed up by an immersive story, delving into the history of the dragon race. But that's not all. An epic quest needs epic rewards. And we've got a few lined up that you might like the Myths Guild. So this is a brand new questing guild. This is another step above Legends. The guild will contain... Oh, I just spoiled that. Ignore that. That didn't happen. The guild will contain a range of existing training methods, such as skilling and combat. But it'll also have some brand new, unique content, like that. You totally didn't know that was coming, did you? Like the Wrath Altar. So this will be the only place in the game where you'll be able to craft Wrath runes. These will be brand new, high-level runes that you'll be able to use to cast Surge spells, some of the most powerful spells in the Elemental Spellbook. As well as that, in the guild, you'll learn how to make superior anti-fire potions. These potions will offer full protection from dragonfire, but for only a short amount of time. The guild isn't the only reward coming from the quest. We've got a few others lined up for you. Could hardly call the quest Dragon Slayer and not have dragons. And we've got 3 new dragons for you to kill. First up, Adamant and Rune dragons. These dragons will have a variety of valuable drops, including some new high-level bones, as well as the Dragon Kite Shield and the Dragon Plate Body. Finally, we're going to be giving you a brand new solo boss. This zombified dragon you may have seen some artwork for it earlier, will have some really nice, unique drops, including the Dragonfire Award. No, the Dragonfire Award. This will be a ranged version of the Dragonfire Shield and Ava's Assembler, a new best-in-slot range cape. So that's Dragon Slayer 2, or at least a very small sneak peek of it. But if you want to learn more, you don't have long to wait. Because if you head to the Oldschool website right now, you'll be able to read the full Dragon Slayer 2 dev blog. And if you like what you see, you'll be able to vote for Dragon Slayer 2 in an in-game poll later this week.
All right, so wow, we got that dropped on us. Pretty big announcement. When I heard that, I was actually pretty damn excited. And like he said, there's currently a dev blog with it, so...
Yeah, well, let's go into a little more detail.
Maybe you guys can, before you vote, just listen and make sure you're happy with everything. So, that being said, with this Myths Guild, it's located, southwest of the Fell Dip Hills.
Yeah, they're filling in a bunch of... If you look at the map, it's just got a black square, got a black blotch there of, blankness. So they're gonna fill that in to kind of finish off the bottom of Fedlip Hills.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Myths Guild will be in, the southwest corner of Feldip Hills, just south of that, the very bottom. And then east of that is the Corsair Cove. But, with the Myths Guild, to enter the building, you need 200 or more quest points to enter just, the lobby. But you have to complete Dragon Slayer 2 to, get full access to the guild.
Right,
and
okay, fair enough.
Within the guild, there'll be a bank, with deposit box and a poll booth. An armory containing a shopkeeper and an anvil. A kitchen, so range and a sink. A garden containing 4 magic trees. A mine containing 4 Addy rocks, 2 Runite rocks. A chapel with an altar. The Fountain of Myths, you recharge skills necklaces, combat bracelets, amulets of glory, all that stuff. A portal chamber with the portals of the Champion, Hero, and Legends Guild. And then, some lore in the library and whatnot. And then, like they said, the dungeon with the new dragons, but they'll also have green, blue, red, and black.
Very cool.
And then they just have, the classic armory store where they sell dragon stuff. So they'd have a dagger, a mace, longsword, battle axe, the shield right half. But then they would also have a dragon metal shard if the kite and the plate body are added.
Yep, okay.
And the shard's 2 mil.
Damn. Alright.
Yeah, a little hefty. So, that being said, they do have a lot of questions that they that they're polling right now. So, with the Myths Guild release and Dragon Slayer, they have separate polls on if they should add Dragon Slayer 2 or the Myths Guild. Yeah. So another thing they'll have is the Mythical Ring. It's a new ring that would just provide unlimited teleports to the Myths Guild, and it could be reclaimed from the Guildmaster if you lost it. So that's
nice.
pulled.
Unlimited teleports too.
Yeah, so that's pretty nice. With the completion of the quest, players will be able to talk to an NPC in the Myths Guild to unlock the ability to create superior anti-fire potions.
Mm-hmm.
And it would take 92 herb lore to make it. And you'd mix a mixing one would give you 130 experience per potion, and you would get, when you use it, you get complete fire protection for 2 minutes. Yeah. So it's super good, but you'd need a bunch.
Yeah, and it's going to require superior dragon bones, crushed superior dragon bones, but that they talk about that later on in the blog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. Using and trading doesn't require Dragon Slayer 2, just only making it.
Okay, cool.
And so that's pulled. And then with the Wrath Altar, players with 95 and above rune crafting would be able to craft the new tradable rune, the Wrath rune. This would be done via the Wrath Altar located within the guild, and the altar is guarded by adamant and rune dragons.
Wow, okay.
So maybe, you protect melee and then you drink the potion with a stamina.
Idea.
It's 2 minutes with the stamina potion. That's kind of where I think that the 2 minute time frames.
Nice.
So it's not super arbitrary, but if you're going to do Wrath Rune runs, that's kind of you would drink both of those every other run, let's say, or every 3 runs.
It's fair.
Yeah, and then you maybe just hold prayer up. And they also have an altar there too. So it kind of makes sense why these things are kind of sitting in the guild. But yeah, let me continue with that. So you'd run past Addy and Rune Dragons, and access to the guild and the altar would only be unlocked after Dragon Slayer 2, of course. And you'd need a talisman, which would be dropped by the Addy Rune Dragons, or Vorkath, which we'll talk about in a bit.
All right.
If the Wrath Talisman isn't added to the drop tables of these NPCs, then they just can't add the Wrath Altar. And yeah, that kind of makes sense, obviously. And then you could have a tiara too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Crafting these runes are less experience per hour than lava runes, so it's about 30k an hour. And it also is more dangerous, it seems. You have more of a chance to die unless you're buying those potions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And praying. The runes will be using a surge spell if these spells are added to the game, of course. And, the altar does not get added in the game, and the surge spells do not pass. Only way to obtain these runes would be by NPC drops. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you can't have one without the other, they're basically saying. You can't have the Wrath runes and not the surge spells. And you can't have the surge spells without the Wrath runes, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of going to be asking about both of them, because they're going to be coming as a pair.
Yeah, the Oranian altar, or Orania altar, would not give Wrath runes.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's pulled.
Wow.
And the spells they're talking about.
Here we are.
So we'll get into these. So, so these spells, they have Wind Surge, 81 magic. It uses 7 air, 1 wrath, has a max hit of 21. Water Surge is 85 magic, 7 air, 10 water, 1 wrath, with a max hit of 22. Earth requires 90 magic, uses 7 air, 10 earth, 1 wrath, with a max hit of 23. Fire Surge requires 95 magic, uses 7 air, 10 fire, 1 wrath, and has a max hit of 24. So, kind of just goes up 1. The Tome of Fire would work with with Fire Surge.
Alright.
So that's good to know. That's pulled, the whole thing. All those spells, and then the new boss and special drops. So Vorkath, so Dragon Slayer 2. This is a little preface, I guess. The Dragon Slayer 2 is sure to challenge your wits, as well as offering many a tough NPC you'll have to defeat. We want to extend this challenge by adding a new solo boss into the game, Vorkath. And yeah, he's a new dragon boss, offering an upgrade to the accumulator, Ava's assemblator, or assembler. Holy.
Assemblator does sound kind of cool, though.
Assemblator.
Sounds a lot more badass.
Yeah. Friggin' alphabetos, or whatever those fucking soups are.
Alfgetios?
Yeah, Alfgetios. I don't even know. Just mixing up words and letters. Anyways. So the Ava's assembler, which would be the new best in slot range cape, which they mentioned. Alongside a new range shield similar to the Dragonfire shield known as the Dragonfire Ward. So that is pulled, the whole boss and all that jazz. And superior dragon bones. So this boss would guarantee 2 bone drops per kill. These are tradable and would give 150 prayer experience when buried, making them the best bones in the game. You need 70 prayer to use them though. So keep that in mind. Superior dragon bones can also be crushed with the pestilent mortar to create crushed dragon bones, and they'd be the secondary ingredient to the anti-fire potion.
Oh, okay.
The use of these bones will not be required, or you'll not be required to complete the quest to use these bones.
Right. So yeah, you could buy them.
Yeah.
If you needed to. Okay.
Moving on, they're talking about Dragon Bolts. So this new boss would drop unfinished Dragon Bolts. You'd need 84 fletching to make them. Or to add the feathers to them, I should say.
Fair enough.
Dragon Bolts will be the new crossbow bolts that can be fired from Dragon Hunter, and Armadillo crossbows.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you can't use them with Rune. They wouldn't really be used in PvP too much, I don't think.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, Dragon Bolts, they would be tradable, and bolt tips from Dragonstone upward will be added to Dragon Bolts. Use of these bolts in any form will not require completion of the quest, and you'll get 12 experience per bolt you create, or you feather, I guess.
Sure.
So Dragon Bolts, they give you 122 range strength. Obviously the stats are subject to change. And that is pulled. And then the Wrath Talisman, we already mentioned about that, but yeah, so that's pulled. So the new boss also would have a rare drop called the Dragon Bone Necklace, and it's tradable. It requires 80 prayer to equip. And when you wear it and bury bones, you'll restore prayer points. Yeah, so the amount of prayer points restored will vary depending on the bones buried, and the higher level bones give more. Now, I don't know if the Bone Crusher would work with this. If so, that is totally busted. I like, that'd be ridiculously overpowered. But, yeah. So this, will use the same scaling as burying bones in the Koran Catacombs. They also don't, the effect doesn't stack with the Koran Catacomb prayer perk.
Okay.
So, yeah. Equipping the necklace will reduce players, will reduce the player's remaining prayer points by 50.
Yeah. Shit. Okay.
This would apply regardless if you're in combat or not. And this is just so you don't, like, swap on and off to just get free prayer points, right? Because people ended up doing that with the Slayer bracelets and stuff, which they don't want to happen again with the necklace. So, yeah, if you're using it, you're just kind of using it. It gives no stats at the moment, but subject to change.
Yeah, that's what's kind of confusing me.
Oh, sorry.
Like,
it gives you 6 prayer. Sorry. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, sure. But like, yeah, I saw that. I'm just like, I don't know why. I can't think of a reason why I would be using it right now with the stats that it has, which is like nothing basically. The only thing I can think of is, swapping it out with your current necklace to, gain the prayer points. But shit, I don't know.
They don't really want that. I mean, okay, if the Bone Crusher works with it, then I might actually end up using it. Because depending on certain tasks, I bring my Bone Crusher, right? Let's say I'm doing Suckwas or something, and I'm cannoning them, like or Cal fights, like, yeah, why not?
Or like, I guess if you're maybe bursting the manacle monkeys.
Yeah, exactly, right? But even then, those drop a ridiculous amount of prayer potions.
Yeah, exactly, so.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on to the Skeletal Visage and the Dragonfire Award. So this boss will drop the Skeletal Visage, which is like a tradable ranged version of the Draconic Visage. You need 90 smithing to combine the anti-dragon shield with this Visage, and you'd create the Dragonfire Ward.
Right, okay, cool.
So it's a range variant of the DFS.
Fair enough, okay, I'm following.
75 defense, 70 range. You don't need to complete the quest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's the range variant of the Dragonfire Shield. Don't really have to keep going. Don't have to go too much detail, but the stats. So attack wise, it's minus 10 in everything, but it's plus 15 range.
Okay.
And the defense stats like vary between 15. The lowest is stab, which is 15, and the highest is magic, which is 22. But range is 68.
Okay.
So yeah, and then it gives you minus 2 melee strength in the other bonuses. So yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I guess. And so that's a poll. So Vorkath would also have a rare drop to drop his head, and you could take his head to Ava and Draenor alongside with the Ava's accumulator to obtain Assembler.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. The Ava's Assembler can randomly gather mithril ranged items, instead of steel. Yeah.
Not bad. Okay.
Yeah, you need 70 range. The head and the Assembler would be untradeable. And
oh, wow, cool. I like that part of it.
Yeah, there'll also be a max cape version of the Assembler. It's the same thing as the Accumulator, but now it's a mithril tier. It's got, 1 melee defense, 8 magic, 2 range, and it gives you 2 range strength. Oh, and 8 range attack.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Yeah, so that's pulled. They also want to know if they should add a Vorki, which would be the Vorkath pet, if Vorkath gets added in.
Okay.
Yeah, and
can't have one without the other.
Yeah. And now we're going on to the dragons and special drops. So, these Addy dragons would have a level 300, they'd be level 340. And yeah, they pulled that. If you want to add them, they have the superior dragon bones. So you're guaranteed 1 drop per dragon. And we already went over them, but yeah, Vorkath gives 2. These Addy and runes would just give 1. And it's what we talked about before. And they pulled if the Addy dragons and the rune dragons should be dropping them.
Right on. Okay.
So, they also want to know if the Addy dragons should drop the Dragon Bolt unfinished.
All right.
As well. And, yeah. They also want to know if, with this dragon crossbow, if adamant dragons should drop the limbs. So the dragon crossbow, the limb would be like a tradable item. You need 78 fletching. The dragon crossbow would sit between Runite and the dragon hunter crossbow. The crossbow would be tradable with 65 ranged equipped. And you don't need to do the quest, of course. And you get about the same experience when you fletch it, as, like, with the same thing as the rune crossbow. But yeah. Stat-wise, gives you 94 range, and it's got a 4 attack rate. So it's 94 ranged attack bonus, the attack rate of 4. Yeah, pretty nice.
Interesting.
They want to know if they add the crossbow to the game, should it have a special attack that does damage to any enemy in a 3x3 area, like a Chinchompa splash type of a thing.
Okay.
I wonder how that would work, but
maybe, I don't know, similar to the Dragon 2-hander?
Be cool if it shot like a blast of fire. There's like a cone.
Maybe it's like
cool.
a shotgun with the bolts.
Yeah. Load a couple in there. But, yeah, they want to know if the adamant dragons should drop the talismans, the wrath talismans and runes. Of course.
Right.
And we're going on to the dragon kite shield. So it would be tradable from these, it'd be a tradable drop that you could get from the Addy dragons, and, you know, you combine that with the dragon metal shard, which that, you know, costs 2 mil, and, you know, 75 smithing, and you make the shield. The shield would be tradable, and it would require 60 defense to equip. And, yeah, you don't need to do the quest, as always, to equip the shield. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It gives, like, pretty decent experience, like, high 50s, like, 56 is the lowest with stab, and 60 slash is the highest, and, you know, 58 and stuff. -1 magic defense, so it's pretty, like, solid defense-wise. -8 magic attack, -2 ranged, and that's it for the stats.
I'm trying to think if anyone's going to be using that over the defender, though. It seems like it might fall in the category as the square shield, but being all fashionscape.
Yeah.
Seems like that's the way that Dragon's been going, armor-wise. Yeah. Look at the full helmet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so expensive, though, but you never see people training with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of worried if that happens, but they can't just make it better than the defender. Sadly.
Yeah, exactly. And people are almost always going to take a better offense than a better defense for most things.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying this shouldn't be in the game. At the same time, like I just think it's going to fall into the cosmetic section as, like, similar to Dragon Full Helmet, which...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, if that's the case, I mean... I don't know. I'm not too happy with the kite shield and the plate body. Because, like, pretty much what we just said, it's just going to be, like, a weird item that people... Oh, that's kind of weird that's in the game now, but nobody really uses it.
Yeah, although, you know, you see someone rocking it, you know they're probably going to be loaded with some money.
Yeah.
Like the Dragon Full Helmet.
Or in a lot of credit card debt.
Yeah, exactly. So, not hating on it, I just think it's just going to fall into, like, a more of a cosmetic kind of item, which, yeah, you know, it is what it is. That's basically what all Dragon's been going. That's the way most, like, all the Dragon armor's been going, and, fuck it. I guess it's got to happen, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, moving on, though, with the Runite dragons, so they'd be level 380. And you'd have to do the quest to fight them. The Runite dragons would have the same drops as Adamant, but they don't drop the Dragon Metal Slice that you need for the shield. But you can still get the limbs.
Okay. Yep, okay.
And that's pulled if they should introduce the dragons. And the reason is because the Runite dragons would drop a dragon metal lump, and this lump you would use to make the dragon plate body. You'd use to make the dragon plate body. You need 90 smithing to create it, 60 defense to equip it. Same old, don't need to do the quest to wear it. But, yeah, the defensive stats are like all pretty much, 100 plus, like between 97 and 109. Like they're,
okay.
Except for magic -6 and then -30 magic attack. So pretty standard for like all the rune plate bodies and stuff, just scaled up more.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so that's pulled if they should add the plate body in the game with the Runite Dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
And, they also want to know if they add these dragons, do you want them to be added to the extension of Metal Dragon Slayer task?
Right. Similar to what they did with Mithril dragons.
Yeah, but who does that? Who does Metal Dragons?
Yeah, man, once you start getting the noted bars, think about getting some noted Runite bars. I'm not saying that's going to come with it, but over time it might. And still, a Runite bar sells for like 10k, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not bad.
Yeah. So they polled if Addy and Runite Dragons, if they should be added as the extension, or should they have a separate Slayer task extension for them? And there's one poll for Addy and Rune.
Okay.
So, like, they're not lumped together. Yeah. And, yeah, we'll talk about this Corsair Cove now. So we'll go over the little blurb that they had.
So the extension.
On the blog.
Yeah, so it looks like the Myths Guild's kind of extending off of the Corsair's Cove.
Yeah.
So let's hear about that. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so they say after years of development, adding new content, expanding upon new areas, they want to fill in some of the map. And yeah, so they said we've heard your requests to fill in these blank spots found throughout the world map, and we like to offer new content available to members and free to play.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the Corsair Cove, I want to call it the Corsair Cave for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But the Corsair Cove will be located, like we said, east of the Myths Guild, but southeast of Feldip Hills. And, yeah, it's kind of walled in. That's kind of how they explain it. And, the settlement's inhabited by pirates called Corsairs. Free-to-play players will be able to access the cove via a free ship from Port Sarum.
Nice.
And members will additionally be able to use the charter ships to and from the cove. It would contain low-level fishing spots and trees, a bank with a dungeon. These dungeons would contain new NPCs for players to kill, and alternative grind spots, pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna maybe be more profitable than some of the other free-to-play monsters.
Yeah.
Or at least an alternative.
Yeah. There'll be no notable draws from these NPCs, and the gate to the west would be guarded by a Corsair who will only let you out if you have Dragon Slayer, or if you remember.
It's a pretty good deal. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, yeah, that is polled, and they want to know if we should let pleb free-to-play players in. So, yeah.
Getting spoiled, but you know what?
They have an expansion for the cove, and the expanded area will be cut off from the rest of Feldip Hills by a dense forest. These two areas where members can pass through the forest, but free-to-play can't.
Sure.
And the southern Feldip Hills will contain a second dungeon with more of the new NPC. It will be linked to the first dungeon with a members-only shortcut. And as well, there'll be an area containing a mining site with 5 coal, 2 mithril, 1 addy, some yew trees, some fishing spots with lobster and swordfish, and players in this area will be able to see the Myth Guild and talk to the Guildmaster.
Ooh, so it gives them a little taste, some incentive to pay up and join the members' side.
Yeah, so, well, they like it if you complete a Dragon Slayer in free-to-play to enter this area, or be a member, which I think is... They go, all right, well, let's look at Hill Giants in free-to-play, and let's look at all the bots in free-to-play. Let's try and disperse Hill Giant people, and let's give an area where you won't really have to fight over with bots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get Dragon Slayer done.
It's...
So yeah, that is pulled. And if this is added, should they add a new free-to-play quest called the Corsair Curse? So you would get 2 quest points when beating it. And you need to do this quest to access the bank.
Okay. All right, sure.
And that's it for all their poll questions for this new update.
Damn, that's wow, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty, but you know, this is also stuff that they'll be releasing up until next RuneFest, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true. This is our year planned out. So, thoughts on the Wrath Altar and the Surge spells? Any problems with that, or?
I find it's kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah, we haven't seen a new rune in since Lunar's Quest.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. I don't know how long that was, but pretty much ever.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to... I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest. I don't want to say it's... I'm glad that they're adding it, because it could definitely hurt the game, but I don't want to say it'll hurt the game, because it could definitely have a little impact. I'm just not knowledgeable enough to say, to be honest.
I just find that these runes will be used for, what, 4 or 5 spells that, like... I don't know. I don't know. I guess they're trying to balance out ancient magics.
Yeah, I guess they want some people to be rocking just full normal magics in the wilderness.
But that being said, I'm pretty sure God spells would still be better.
Maybe.
I don't know. I find the Wrath runes are kind of weird. I don't really care for them.
Yeah.
They're very unnecessary. I feel like it doesn't really fit. I feel like someone in Jagex was like, I want a new rune. Let's add them to these dragons in Dragon Slayer 2.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like it doesn't really fit. Yeah, I don't really like it too much, but
yeah, I'm too ignorant to say, to be honest, but
yeah, it just kind of seems weird and unnecessary. We don't need new things for the sake of it being new, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, it doesn't really add anything amazing to the game.
Okay, I agree there. At least that's what I think, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not really sure if it does or it doesn't. Thoughts on Dragon Bolts and the Dragon Crossbow?
Honestly, I prefer to hear like a magic crossbow or something, because I saw like a post on the subreddit where, like, I think it's in the Ranging Guild, they tease about a magic crossbow.
That's right. Yeah, when you talk to the guy, he says like, I'll have to look into it or something like that.
Yeah. So I would prefer a magic crossbow, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm fine with it.
Yeah. My only problem is if you can use Dragonstone to put on these dragon bolts, if you're just going to be getting fucking destroyed by rangers in the wilderness, right? Because the rune bolts with a dragon tip can already hit pretty goddamn high.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to worry about bringing an anti-fire potion with my anti-venom and all that shit as well, right?
Yep.
So, but
yeah, like, I want to see the numbers on the enchantment and what exactly it does, but
I guess we talked about the Dragon Bone necklace already. And the new Dragon Fire Ward. That one I want to say, it's like, yeah, sure, seems like a good thing to add, but then again, we did just see the buckler get added with the raids last year.
Yep.
Do we already want something that's going to be competing with it? Let me just look this up real quickly. But then again, just looked it up now, the buckler does add 3 more ranged attack than the Dragon Fire Ward, so I guess it's similar to having your defender versus the DFS, right?
Yeah, but I don't really think you need it, because range in itself, like, you on average, you're getting more DPS out of it, not including specs and stuff.
All right.
And like, when you're doing bosses like Sarah and stuff, you could bring a DFS for more defense, or an Odium Ward. Well, I mean, I wouldn't burn Buckler, right? Because I don't have...
You're not rolling in that dough.
My ass, but Yeah, like I would bring either a DFS or an Odium Ward, and one's more damage, one's more defense, right? Like it was kind of like a trade-off, and I don't really think we need a DFS for range.
Fair enough. Okay. What about
all it would do would make Slayer a bit more easier.
Yeah, I guess so. And maybe
it's like,
when it drops down in price, the range tanks would be a little bit stronger almost in the Wildy. But I don't know. I never really see a DFS either, so I don't know what I'm saying. What about the new Ava's Assembler?
That kind of came that was kind of unexpected for me. 'Cause, do people feel like the Ava's accumulator is bad?
No, I just maybe they're want something new. The thing that I like about it is that the head is untradeable, so you really have to go and work towards getting it. So I do kind of dig that part of it.
Yeah, that's the redeeming feature of okay, it's this new best in slot range cape, and you do have to get it yourself.
Yeah, which is kind of exciting, right?
Yeah, and it's also a rare drop too, so
you can pretend to be an Iron Man for a couple hours while you're getting it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's kind of weird that they just kind of, alright, we need a new best in slot range cape along with this mage cape. Mm-hmm. But, I'm fine with it, I guess.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, right? Now that I think about it, the Inferno cape came out, they want a new mage cape, so might as well do a range cape while you're at it.
Right. Okay, sure. Why not? And then again, if it is untradeable, you're not really going to want to bring it to the wilderness, right?
Yeah.
You die or whatever, if you end up losing it or some shit, then you gotta go back and get another. You gotta go grind yourself to get the head.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just go out and buy a new one. Then you got the dragon gear, which, it could look pretty sexy. Your fashion scape could be on point, and maybe gives you plus 100 to your sex appeal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if I saw, I'm just thinking right now, if I was rocking full dragon, I would feel like a pretty, OG. Yeah,
my only thing is, I don't know. It's the whole thing with, do we need it? We're kind of just, what does this really bring to the game?
Yeah, but, at the same time, should a dragon plate and a dragon kite shield never be added just because, you're not going to be able to do much with it? We have the full helmet.
I think the main thing is it's what would you do with it?
Same thing you do with a dragon full helmet. You know what I mean?
But the only people I ever see wearing them are guys scamming in the Grand Exchange.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and level 60s or 70s that have 60 defense, 60 attack, 40 strength, and that's it. And you're okay, this guy bought a lot of bonds or bought a lot of money off a site. You know what I mean? I've never seen anyone using a DFH, a Dragon Full Helm, at all. Never seen them really utilize it.
No, I don't think you really would either.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
But at the same time, we do have the other pieces, so I do like the idea of filling out the whole set. You would look pretty badass, I think, wearing a full dragon set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Because, yeah, you could sit there and be like, yeah, it's not really needed, but at the same time, it's not needed. It's kind of just a why not at this point.
Yeah.
This game has so much better armor and stuff. They kind of what are we just not going to add it because we don't... It's going to be weird to make it the best in slot, so what, it just doesn't deserve a spot in this game? You know what I mean? Now it's you just going to look sexy as fuck if you got it.
Yeah, I guess.
Or a scammer, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, there's Cove. Yeah, sure, why not? I'm glad the free-to-play is getting some love. They're kind of, they kind of want mobile players to have a lot more to explore with. A lot of this is what's keeping in tune with the whole mobile update coming out in.
Yeah, well, it's super weird because you look at free-to-play and it's this is how you make money. You buy death runes at a shop, or you kill Obor and hope you get a club.
Yeah.
Or you skill. But but generally it's skilling or flipping runes.
Yeah.
That's generally how you make money for your first bond.
Well, skilling is, yeah, I guess so.
Cutting yew trees specifically, when I say
even
skilling.
Even still, that's what all the bots are doing to make money.
Yeah.
Obor is where I would think you would want to go.
But it's a grind. You know what I mean? Like, it took me... I grinded out the minimum stats for Obor on my free-to-play account, and I got, like, 20 or something kills in. That's all I got out of, like, that big grind. Like, it's a big grind to get half a bond, I'm pretty sure, is the price now. But the point that I'm making is, it's more, you make more money, and it's consistent if you're flipping on the GE while selling death runes that you buy at a shop.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Or you're cutting use while you're flipping. And then you go to members and it's the exact opposite. Like, you don't really want to, like, if you're trying to make as much money as possible every hour consistently and you're playing for the long haul, you're not going to want to sit there and skill all the time and flip on the GE. You'd want to be flipping on the GE while you're doing Slayer, and then you hit a certain threshold in Slayer where you're making a bond in a day easy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, I can sit on, like, 3-4 hours and I have a bond already. You know what I mean? Like, it's like at my, like, for where I'm at, it's super easy to get bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to do my dailies, but I mean, I do them anyways. Well, when I can log on, but.
Fair enough.
So I think Corsairs is supposed to, like, open up more combat.
Yeah, they don't want a bunch of new players coming in and having to compete, because people who are free to play right now are already having a hard time competing against bots.
Yeah.
With a huge influx of new players coming in, that's a pretty big deterrent when you're already facing against bots, and now you got, like, I don't know, let's say 2 times the amount of non-members now that are just normal players.
Yep.
It's gonna really deter people, being like, well, you know, once you level up your stats and stuff, you're just like, I can't get a bond, and I don't want to spend real life money, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who, he was a free-to-play, and he was trying to mine, because the only mining experience he'd ever gotten was from, that Dorix quest.
Yep,
Dorix,
okay.
Whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
I can't remember right now for some reason. Yeah, the dwarf quest, but he literally couldn't mine anything. He couldn't mine any copper or tin because of all the bots, so he just bought membership to just get around it.
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody can buy membership like that, right?
But he also kind of did it out of anger. He was like, fuck this is so stupid, and he just, like, went and bought membership and just started playing. He's like, okay, that's a bit better.
Best way to enter members.
But most people would download it on their phone, and then they're like, there's so many people, I can't do anything, I'm bored.
Yeah, let's go play Clash Royale or whatever.
Yeah.
Clash of Clans shit.
Yeah, so yeah, I think they're definitely going to try and expand it. They have to be, like, really on top of their bot detection, because if they kind of mess up the Corsairs, and it's, like, the best way to make money.
Yeah, and then the bots will just move over to there.
Yeah.
Which I guess would open up some more areas for you to go back from the mainland. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's a hard one. The bot one, I think, is always going to be an issue, but what can you do, right?
I do like how they're adding in Corsair. I'd like another boss for free to play.
Yeah?
I would like, even if it's like shit, even if you're like kind of making like, even if you're making very little money, but make it kind of just a fun boss. You know what I mean? Because it's free to play. The whole point of free to play isn't to like, oh, let me just get It's supposed to like rope you into membership, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why you're not making crazy money doing everything. Cause like they don't care if the average, obviously they don't want the average person on RuneScape buying bonds with in-game gold. They want them to be buying it with real money, but they want them to like enjoy the game too. So if you have like this fun new boss, or like, you know, they have a boss that's fun and like, oh man, this is sweet. This is awesome. I'm gonna go show off my new pirate hat or some shit, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe they'll get membership. Like, they kind of, yeah, I don't know. They should be focusing more on free-to-play is pretty much what I'm saying. That's kind of what they're doing with this little bit of an update, which I like a lot. I really do like how you can go through the one gate if you have Dragon Slayer done. I love that.
Yeah.
That's like a rite of passage for every free-to-play.
Which is always nice to have.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, shit, that was a lot to go through for updates.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, plenty to go over, plenty to look forward to, plenty of polls to answer on whether or not you actually want to see these in the game. And yeah, we're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled for some of that stuff to see what's going on in the future. And moving right along, because we're not quite over right yet. So, you know, naturally, we had another Deadman Mode tournament. And yeah, we talked about before the new things they were adding where they're going to section off 4 islands. When it got down to the last 200 people, they were all going to teleport to the islands and have to fight it off 50-50 each. Or, well, the 50 people on each island are going to have to fight it off all together. And once there's down to 1 person on each island, they're going to have kind of like 2 1v1s going on. And then the last 2 winners would be a 1v1 against each other. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, not a whole lot to really discuss during the whole tournament until basically the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of well, I don't know how you want to say this, but yeah, a little bit of controversy that kind of went on. But before we get into that, basically what had happened was when it got down to the last 4 people, one of the 3 people kind of disconnected or logged out or something happened, and he just kind of popped off the game, which left the last 3 people all part of the one clan kind of being able to win the tournament themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we kind of talk about that part of it, I wanted to say about the islands itself that it seemed like it was a good idea at first. It was kind of fun to watch. It was giant, like, all these, like, people were fighting and people were getting killed, and again, another clusterfuck of people just killing each other, as, you know, as the Deadman tournaments almost always are. But as people started slowly dwindling down, the only thing that bothered me was when it got down to, like, let's say the last 7 people, let's just say. It seemed like it was basically every person turning on one person, and slowly it was basically you're hoping you weren't the person selected to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a clan of 7 people were targeting one person. It was just maybe a bunch of solo players, and then when one person decided to attack someone, everyone else, instead of being like, well, I don't want to get targeted, they would all choose that same person and attack that person.
Maybe maybe like a clan of 2 would jump one guy, and everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna just follow suit.
Yeah. So that was a little bit unfortunate. Like, it would get down to like the last 4 people on an island, and then instead of it being 2 1v1s, which I was kind of hoping for, and I'm sure many people were, it turned into a 1v3. And then, you know, they made some jokes where a person was running around the perimeters of the island, picking up food and stuff, and they made some jokes where, like, it looks like this guy's tanking the Cerebos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there was one island that they were fighting, but then they all just died.
Yeah, so I think that was because they noticed that it was kind of like this what we were just talking about, but to another level where it was like 20 people targeting one person, a 1 versus 20. Then it was a 1 versus 20, and then it was a 1 versus 19, and then it was a 1 versus 18, which was just kind of taking a long time to get things down. And they mentioned before that if you weren't fighting like in the spirit, you're kind of like avoiding combat, they were gonna disqualify you. And I guess that was what they saw was a way of avoiding combat. Now, my only issue with that is there was a time where, and we have a clip we're about to play where it was like the last little, almost like an interview where they're talking about and they announced the winner. But while that was going on, you had Mod Sween who would run back with a note being like, we just disqualified these 2 people. And then bam, like disqualified this person. And it seemed like I didn't even know that island they all got fucking KO'd on until afterwards when I went back and saw it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird that never got mentioned. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm sure it was just hard to miss, but it just seemed like, you know, if you're going to take out people who are doing that, you know, try to hit every island they're doing that maybe. But maybe if you did that, you were just like, oh shit, we killed like everyone. Because it seemed like everybody was doing that. But yeah, I guess before we talk much more about it, should I just play the clip?
Yep.
All right, here it is.
All right, guys, we're back on the sofas with all 4 of us. Ian, Elliot, obviously our first time ever trying something such a crazy finale. Let's talk about what just happened.
First of all, I just want to say, like, great job casting in spite of changing circumstances. I was playing Messenger there, but good job responding.
The thing with casting is, like, Elliot and I have done this quite a few times now, and at the end of the day, it's just us sitting there as friends, just chatting about RuneScape because we're just massive nerds and massive geeks, and we love the game. So it was really enjoyable for us as well.
Speak for yourself, Ian.
All right, enough parring me, dude. All weekend, man, I've had enough of it. No, it was a great experience, and I think Sick Note as well was my personal highlight. Like, see him go so far, top 5. Did a fantastic job, and winning the money for the charity as well, for his charity that the Team LOL chose. Fantastic effort.
I'd say shout out to Rakesy, actually. He was doing a fantastic job creating some nice content, killing everybody he was running into. Yeah. Alfie as well was killing everybody. We saw Bodhi trying to kill the poor level 27, I think.
I miss how Alfie died, actually. I know he was running around with that Abbey dagger. Did you see how he died?
No.
No?
I missed that. I was probably running back and from, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so obviously, like you were talking about with... it's a stepping stone, trying to get that perfect Deadman Mode finale. Yeah. I think we're definitely going in the right direction. Perhaps not exactly what we wanted to see at the end there. We didn't want to see a domination from a clan. We wanted to see those 1v1s taking part, people really going at it, similar to sort of the PvP championship style fights. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but like Ian pointed out earlier, it does show the pure domination of certain teams. If you're able to have your communication completely disrupted, have 4 quadrants, kill everyone within each quadrant, and then win like that, fair play.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty that we can do to try to incite teams to actually fight against each other a bit more. Those ideas are very hard to come by, and you find that people like to leave things until the very last minute, and then they'll rush in, and so it can either be a massive bloodbath, or we can try to slow things down and bring them into the 1v1s as we've done, but then you have some ranged tanks fighting against each other, which can take a while. But regardless, quite happy with that. The thing that happened just now was I think, had 3 of the last 4 people were in the same team. So they didn't want to fight each other, which is unfortunate. Don't know if you guys can clarify or if you know any otherwise, but that's what it seems to have happened there.
I can jump in a little bit. So we had to disqualify some because they weren't kind of playing in the spirit of Deadman. We've seen it happen before, of course. And then we had what looks to be like a genuine disconnection. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the player back. So then we've had to bring in 3 from the final team. So that's why it's all happened and why I was running backwards.
I think despite that, though, like the week in general, the tournament week is always so much fun. All the content that the Demo Mansions has happened, Team LOL versus Team CBS, that's been a hell of a lot of experience for everyone in the houses as well as for you guys at home. All that content's been produced and a lot of behind the scenes, which I'm sure is going to come out in the future as well. And the last hour as well, it's always interesting to watch all the different solo players, all the clans like play nicely. And Adam, being 83 combat, still getting quite far in. That was always interesting to see as well. I think it was fun regardless, and I always look forward to tournaments.
Do you know, my favorite thing about this one was seeing these guys playing together. That was really something special. And then meeting up with some of their friends, they were actually one of the stronger teams at the end there. We had 2 massive groups of what must have been like 150 players each. And then we had them going as a very strong, maybe 20 people. And they actually stood a good chance for a while there. Like, they were making it pretty far.
Yeah, I mean, there's always sort of that possibility that they run into a multi-area or they just get targeted. Being big names, people want, they want to be recognized as being able to kill those big names. They could have been wiped out, and I was kind of expecting that to happen, to be honest. I know, I'm sorry for doubting you guys. I thought they were going to get wiped out really early on. Did anyone take you by surprise specifically? Obviously out of the lasters.
I would say I probably would be Signer, the fact that he managed to survive for so long. Especially about teaming as well. We all had this kind of thought he was teaming up. But to see it as a genuine solo group of players is incredible.
Well, guys, what an incredible finale it has been, especially with the Deadman Mansions leading up to such a show. We had $10,000 being donated to Make-A-Wish Foundation as a congratulations to Sick Nerd for lasting the longest. And we had $20,000 going to the player. I'm going to read out his name. 5 plus 10K 12. This is his exact display name. Any idea what team he might be in, or a solo player?
My thoughts are Rot, but only because
he's in Rot.
They're always bragging about having 50K made from Jags, their profits and such. So I'm not too sure though.
I think Mazar was just over there in the crowd shouting, "Yeah, he's from Rot." So.
Oh,
we have confirmation from a Rot member himself. He is shouting, "We've won!" So congratulations, Mazar.
See, that was right there. I forgot to mention before, that the Deadman Mansions was going on last week as well. I unfortunately didn't catch much of the Deadman Mode Mansions because I'd pop on to see it. I know we talked about it before. I was personally expecting to have like cameras in the house and having like a Big Brother sort of scenario where you could just like see them interacting. There was a little bit of that, but at least I missed a lot of it, and you know what I mean. But I don't know, how do you feel Deadman Mode Mansions?
The only thing I know is that they had internet issues on day 1.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
And that's about it. Like, I didn't get to watch any of it, but like, I didn't see much on the subreddit. I guess it was I think we just kind of expected too much. I think Deadman Mansions was a way to get streamers to continue streaming and, like, doing their job, but also being able to participate at RuneFest and Deadman mode and all that stuff.
Right, yeah, and as they said, Sicknerd was the last one out of the Dead Man Mode people, of the Mansion people, I should say, who won. He was able to donate the money to Make-A-Wish Foundation. Each team kind of picked one, and picked a charity, I should say. And, yeah, like, and the thing is, the way he was killed was basically exactly what we were talking about, where there was, like, 5 people left, and they were just picking off one at a time, and then he was, I guess, randomly selected to die after that, so, and that's how he was killed. But, again, congrats to them for that. I do hope they do keep going with the Dead Man Mode Mansions, and they hope to do more, similar to what they're doing with each tournament. Because, this was the first one. Maybe, next time do some IRL streams alongside with them. You know what I mean? Kind of, or maybe have one big common area where they're all streaming together. So you can have them, doing some banter. I don't know. But, yeah. But that being said, as always, like we mentioned before, it's not a Dead Man Mode tournament without some controversial thing happening afterwards, right? Or at the end of it. So, as I said at the end, there was about 4 of them left. One person just popped off, and the 3 were able to kind of just decide which one they want to take home the winnings and, I guess, divvy it among themselves. But afterwards, you go onto the subreddit, and naturally, the accusations of a DDoS attack had gone down. Where one of the last guys, the guy who got kicked off was, getting DDoSed or something.
Yeah, I saw like 3 or 4 separate people posting that they got DDoSed. But the big thing was, if anyone watched it, there was 4 guys left, and one dude was just standing there, and there was like a little 1v1 going on, and everyone was like, because this is like, I missed almost the whole tournament, but I got home. I don't know, maybe I woke up. I don't know. My sleep schedule was messed. I like got school out of the way. I was like, sweet, I have like a day to chill. And I got on my computer and Dill sent me a message about Dead Man Mode. And I literally got on at this point where this one dude is just, he's in really good gear. He's like a higher level and he's just like standing there getting whacked by a guy, and everyone just assumed he was a team. And, he was in a team, and no, he apparently disconnects. And like, you look at his inventory, he's got a crap ton of food. Like, he could have won it. Like, he was in a very good place to win it.
Because the thing is, if I'm not mistaken, he killed the guy who was facing, the 1v1, the person he was facing. He ended up taking that guy out, and then he just popped off, leaving the last 2 people who were facing each other to kind of just duke it out to see who won.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you go on Reddit and people have a list of evidence on why they might have got DDoSed by Rot or something like that. But again, it's something that you can't really prove, right?
Yeah, there's no voice clip of somebody saying, hey, my name is Rot, blah, 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 and I am DDoSing this guy right now. Here's, look at me on my computer, dude. Like, there's no hard evidence, but there's like the only thing that like, it's really tinfoil hat-y. Real tinfoil hat theory, but they had their friggin' Rot tournament. And, I mean, if you're applying on their website, you're joining their teams, like, they have your IP, right? 100%. If you make an account and you're posting on their website, RS, whatever their friggin' website is. But, and then also in their TeamSpeak, like, they have your IP, and...
Sure, okay.
And if they recognize you as someone in the top whatever, they can, but like that's still such a stretch, right?
Yeah, that's a long shot right there. Now, you go on, you'll see some evidence where like the thing is they have allegedly in the past done similar things.
Yeah, so has every big PvP clan has done that though, allegedly.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of times where people are accusing other clans and stuff of doing that. So it's like, it's really hard to say. And I know there's some controversy because there's even a mod who kind of plays alongside with the same clan.
Yeah, so I honestly think, like, okay, every event, DDoS, people bitch about DDoSing, and I got DDoS, blah, 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 blah. But, like, okay, let's just say that their internet just cut out, or there was too many, whatever. Let's just say there's no DDoS. Let's pretend that there's no disconnection issue. It is super weird that like an employee of Jagex is on the team that keeps winning Dead Man Mode events. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying it's really unprofessional.
Yeah.
That like...
It's a conflict of interest.
Imagine Counter-Strike Go, very popular, or like, okay, no, even more popular, League of Legends. There's like the best team in the world, SKT. And now imagine being like, oh yeah, there's Riot members that own part of the team. They have a stake in the team. And then you're kind of like, but they're the best. They win all the... Like, it's just like that doesn't happen because like obviously that's really unprofessional and it makes things seem fishy. I'm not saying that he has like anything to do with the DDoSes, but I mean, it's just super unprofessional that like a Jagex member is like in any clan that is taking part of their big events. It doesn't matter what clan or what member. It's just the fact that it happened, right? Unless it's weird. Like, unless it's like him and 5 friends, that's different. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it'd be like, imagine we did a raffle ourselves, and all you had to do is submit your username, and then like all of a sudden, like, oh, randomly, my girlfriend who plays RuneScape wins. You know what I mean? It's just like,
even better yet, with our giveaway, you find out Buttered Tub wins one of the Bond giveaways.
I mean, I guess it's a little different because that's just me like giving myself membership.
Yeah, but
congratulations to Butter Tubs, Butter Nuts, Buttery Mess, and I don't know, Butter
Deegan Iron Deegan.
Yeah, congratulations. But yeah, super weird. Now again, it is kind of odd that it seems like, you know, like, imagine being in the top 4 and then you just lost connection. That does seem a bit... a little sketchy. But at the same time, I would not be surprised. I'm not saying this happened, but I could definitely see in a RuneScape tournament somebody who's like, shit, I'm not going to be able to win this. Let me just unplug my internet and see if I can get something rolling.
Yeah.
If I can get a conspiracy rolling.
Normally, I'd be like, that could easily be a case, but if you saw his inventory, his gear, and his levels, like if I was him, but I was, if I was good at PKing and all that shit, and I was in his position, I would be like, I got this. I'm like the highest level, I have like the best gear, I have like a 90%, like I'm pretty much full inventory, I'm gonna kill this guy and be set for the next fight. Unless, you know, that dude one bangs the other. Like, but I'm pretty much gonna win. Like, I got this in the bag. That's what I would be thinking. One, because I don't wanna psych myself up, but like,
obviously.
He was in the best position, and then he ends up disconnecting, which he could have unplugged that router. He could have got DDoS.
Yeah, that's the thing. That in itself, they're both kind of a stretch in their own sense, but at the same time, I guess I don't know. It's that's the thing. It's really hard to say, but there's no evidence one way or another unless somebody comes out and says, "Boom, this." I know for a fact this happened because he said it on TeamSpeak or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people up in arms about that.
I do think, regardless, it's 2017. How the fuck are you still getting DDoSed?
Yeah, you should be a lot more careful, I guess. But at the same time,
I swear to God,
I'm stupid with this stuff and. Me signing into his site, I would be like, you know what I mean? I might not be expecting to get DDoS if I joined some other tournament thing or something like that, right?
That's true, but like, you could easily, I'm closing my Skype account. I'm uninstalling Skype. I'm just gonna be super safe. Uninstalling Skype, TeamSpeak. I'm gonna call my ISP and be like, make sure you can help me change my IP. I don't know how to do. I'm not confident. Can you help me change my IP? Okay, and they'll explain, unplug your router, right?
Yeah.
You change your IP just before the event starts, and you gotta log on to the official client, and then, you know what I mean? Like, you make sure you don't log in anywhere, and then boom, that's like you can download a virtual machine, which is like, a computer within a computer, if that's like my best way of explaining it. You could get a VPN on that, so you could spoof your IP, and then you could just download the official client and set it up through your VPN.
Yeah, but see, you saying all these protections, I'm sitting there being like, I would never think of any of these. I could definitely see myself being in the top 4. Well, okay, I can't see myself ever getting to the top 4, but I could see myself if for whatever reason I made it to the top 4, I could see myself getting DDoS because I did something stupid, because I didn't realize it, because I'm just not smart with that stuff.
But like, that's why I said the beginning thing where you just uninstall everything that you might be afraid of, and then you just have the official client, and then you literally call your ISP being like, make sure I'm doing this properly. Like, you could do the simplest thing, or you could like download a bunch of programs and like set this whole thing up. You could even like go to somebody's house. You could like go to a family. Hey, grandma, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my god! And then you go over and just play the RuneScape. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I'm saying they're being
like it's like every event, regardless of like if it's dead mode or not, there is some sort of DDoSing kerfuffle. So like, why isn't everybody freaking out, being like, I gotta just Google how do I not get DDoS? Destiny's DDoS prevention guide. Like, there's so many ways to like easily find out. Like, I'm not like some networking expert, but it's literally just like you can find out like the information is so easy to find out, especially because a long time ago streamers were getting DDoS like crazy, right?
Fair enough.
So a lot of public guides and preventions were being released, so you can find them that are still pretty much up to date. Like, there is ways to update or to keep yourself safe from a DDoS, and it's kind of fucked that like, hey, there's 3 clan members and one guy who's not a clan member. How come he can never safely protect his IP and prevent DDoSing? How come he can never do that?
But it could be like that whole, it's not going to get me. Like, why would it happen to me of all people, right? Because like, you're saying all that, but I could also see myself just not thinking about that, being like, yeah, I'm not going to get DDoS, because who the fuck's going to DDoS me? I'm just some average Joe playing RuneScape, and oh, look, I got a vacation week, so I booked it off during the dead man mode, let's just say. And, you know what I mean? That's the thing. But I know myself, I might not take all these precautions because I just might not think it's a problem.
Yeah, let's just say you're not.
Why would somebody want to target me?
Yeah, let's say you're not involved in the community. You don't know that Rot's going to DDoS you. But I mean, if you're the highest level with the best gear at the Final Four, like, you definitely know enough about RuneScape to like understand that people get DDoSed all the time.
And I have heard of people saying maybe there's somebody in his team speak who's a rat kind of deal.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah, they have like
how do you prevent those type of situations?
Well, that's the thing. Like, why? Like, don't use TeamSpeak. I know it's better than Discord for like VoIP, specifically VoIPing, but it is so unsecure.
Yeah, I guess.
You can literally download rats onto your computer through TeamSpeak. You can literally fuck your computer up because it's fucked. It's like, come on, I don't know. If you're gonna invest a week of your life into RuneScape and you're like, you're good enough at the game to be the highest level with the best gear in top 4, you like understand enough like what the community's like. That's all I'm saying.
I fair enough. I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes, but like at the same time, it's also likely he was playing during a thunderstorm, so who knows, right?
Yeah, maybe he was in I don't know, Florida or something.
Yeah, and like just
the hurricane,
the internet gets knocked out, not the power. But again, hard to say. But if you're interested in all this shit, hop on the subreddit, because there's definitely tons of fucking evidence of this and that, and you can like start, stringing on a cork board, some conspiracy if you want to put on
some
your
Pepe Sylvia borderline shit. That's pretty much what it is at this point. Just nonsense.
Sure. All right. That's what that sounded like to me. But yeah. But regardless, congratulations to the winner for winning the 20,000. That's still not an easy feat. So that's And with all the clusterfuck of what is going on and whatnot, some of the mods, I think it was Mod Matt K, did say they're going to talk about this on next week's QA. So we will definitely cover that and let you guys know what the hell is going on, if anything. But I'm sure it's just going to be some copy and pasted statement being like, we don't know whether or not, what we can't say. It may or may not have happened. But, that was basically the goings on of RuneFest. I hope I'm not missing anything, but I might be because so much has gone on. But, we're normally capping our episodes at about 2 hours, and here we are almost at 3 hours. So,
yeah.
I think it's time to, bring her to an end. What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's time.
All right. Well, anyways, if you guys are not aware, or you probably are aware, but we are doing a giveaway, and this is our last week to get in on that. So the giveaway, we're going to be consisting of giving away some bonds to you guys, some of the listeners of the show. So some of the ways you can get in on the giveaway, on the little competition, is we have a survey out right now. We're kind of asking for some feedback, things you like, things you don't like, things you would like seen in the show so that we can improve it to you guys over, let's say, the next year. I don't know. But yeah, give us some feedback, because a couple weeks ago I had a chance to look at some of the early ones that came in, but I'm going to wait till, probably after this episode to kind of go through all of them and really take into account to everything you guys say and listen to the feedback and really maybe add some segments, maybe change some things up on how the show is currently done. But yeah, if you want to get onto the survey, it is available on Twitter and Facebook and our Discord, I believe. So there's a link there. You can it's a Google Files or Google Forms or Google Documents. I don't remember, but one of the Google ones. And don't worry, we're not going to steal your IP. I think you're pretty safe with us.
Just don't be in the Final Four with us next Deadman seasonal.
Yeah, look out, because here we come.
Yeah.
And another way of doing that, another way of winning a bond or whatever, is by just sending us a tweet of maybe a highlight or a moment you might remember of the show, or maybe something ever stood out that you can that you enjoyed listening to, that you can recall. Let us know. Send us a tweet and then give us a little hashtag of the old school RuneScape, of whatever, one of the RuneScape hashtags, just to help get the show out there. And yeah, I'm going to run through all the ways you guys can get in contact with us. Starting with Twitter, it's at the WildernessRS. Our Facebook is facebook.com/thewilderness_podcast. Our email address is thewilderness_podcast@gmail.com. And we also have an in-game clan chat, which you can access by WildCC. And lastly, we have a Discord that if you guys want to join, just ask us. We'll get a link out to you. Unless you go on, I believe there's one on Facebook right now. Maybe I'll pin one on Twitter. But yeah, come and join us in there as well. We got a lot of fun people hanging out in all the clan chats and the Discords and the blah, blah, blahs.
Yep.
All right. And yeah, next week we're going to be giving them away. So, you snooze, you lose. But definitely try to get in on that. And yeah, I think we're done. I think we're finished. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. My voice died there. Jesus.
Great way.
Very upset about ending this podcast.
I think that's a sign that it's time to just get on out of here. And I'm starving. My fucking tummy's rumbling, and I need to get some grub. So thanks, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the Lankley podcast. Let us know if you liked those voice clips and shit. I don't know if those, as I was recording them, I'm wondering if this is kind of going on long. But hey, maybe you guys missed it, or I don't know. Let us know. But anyways, Thanks for listening, and tune in next week for the continuation of the DDoS attack.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh, exciting. All right, appreciate you guys. Yeah, have a good one. Later, Gators.